Hello, I'm T-Rex. You can call me T-Prescription or whatever you want. I'm about to talk to Chris Prezafundit, and let's get on with it.
Hello, hello, citizen. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh man, I'm doing good, but I have my bad moments. But fortunately for all of us here, it's a good moment. So.
Yeah, I'm having my normal day as I wake up, I get ready to do some recording, and then my neighbor's leaf blowing in the driveway for 10 minutes. What the hell's going on? I look out there, I can't see where he's at. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, it just sounds like he's just outside the window. Well, I guess that's right where his garbage cans were. And this morning when my girlfriend was leaving for work, I went ahead and took the garbage and recycling out, and I like, fuck, our garbage can's knocked over, and thankfully it was empty, but our recycling bin was knocked over too, and shit was everywhere, and it had just rained. So I'm out there with gloves on picking up trash, and then I look out here. Oh, he had the same situation, but instead of just grabbing some gloves and picking it up, like wet garbage and leaves all over the place, he just leaf blowed it. Blowed it? I don't know what the tense is for that.
Yeah.
But he just blew it into the neighbor's yard. And it's just like leaves and trash all mixed together, like dirty paper towels and shit bags and shit like that. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know, man. That sounds very American of him.
Yeah, it's not
just like relocate the problem for someone else to take care of. Fuck this. I don't want to deal with it.
At least it only took him 15 fucking minutes, though. It took me like 2 minutes to pick that shit up on my hands. So whatever.
I mean, most of the time, leaf blowing is a waste, but I will say that we did have some professional leaf blowers here about a week ago, and they blew they gave our apartment complex a blowjob, I guess you could say. And they did a very good job. Like they blew that shit on a tarp and took care of the mess.
Oh,
they didn't
that's
just like
a great idea.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, because you could pin the tarp down flat, like with some little ties or whatever, like tent ties or something, and then blow it all on there, and then wrap it up or whatever. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it necessarily. I don't know if they like weighted it down with something, but
even just 4 bricks or something.
Yeah, 4 bricks. Yeah, or some people. I didn't really pay attention that much, and the memory of it is kind of fuzzy. But I do remember thinking, well, this is the exception to leaf blowing, is actually like cleaning up the mess instead of just moving it around like most fucking people do.
Yeah, I expected to see him like pushing it up into a garbage bag or something, but no, or one of those leaf blowing bags or whatnot, yard waste bag. No, it's just there's no back fence on their side. On our side there's a fence, but on their side there's no fence between the yards, and we have this. Basically, it just runs down to a low spot in the yard, and he just blew it all right there next to a bush. Like, what the fuck?
I'm sure the wind won't move any of it later on, as the days go on.
Half of that shit will be in our yard. It'll be up against the fence, and the wind will keep blowing, and it'll swirl over the fence, and it'll be in our backyard, and then tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, it'll be in our side yard, and it'll look like we did it.
Yeah. Well, God bless America.
It's silliness. This neighborhood that we moved into, I hate to be one of those guys like, it used to be a super nice neighborhood, but it really did. But I think that's more because there was just a ton of old people that were living here. We were the only younger couple, and basically we just kept to ourselves. But over the last 5 years, every house surrounding our house, except for the CO and the detective, those are the only 2 houses that are the same people, which is crazy because I live between a detective, a sheriff, and a correctional officer, like a guy that actually works in the jail. I live right between all 3 of them, and I grow weed, and I blow weed stank right in their fucking yards and shit. But all our neighbors are straight trash. They're always like running out the door, screaming at each other, fucking peeling out of the driveways and fucking shit that I used to do in my 20s. But I mean, I know I used to do that shit, but dude, it's like every day, all day long, constant, like neighbors screaming and dogs fucking like, get the dog, you know. It's like, what the fuck is going on over there, you know? Like, Jesus
yeah,
Christ,
no,
people
the like tensions are so high, and then it rubs off on you, because then it's, you know, they're all tense, and then they're causing drama, and then you get all tense and shit just listening to the fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
just cascade.
Yeah, I'm relatively stress-free for the most part, but I feel like that's like one of the biggest things. Like, who the hell just pulled up into our yard? What the fuck is going on? And it'll be like their friends can't fit the 5th car in their driveway, so they pull up sideways in our yard or something crazy. And it's like, really, dude? Do I have to go outside and say something? Because this is fucking ridiculous, you know? Or it'll be like 10 o'clock at night and you'll hear like 5 4-year-olds screaming, and it's like, really, what the fuck is going on? And you look outside and they're trying to pack up to go on vacation or something, but it's like 10 o'clock at night and the kids are just freaking out and screaming and running around in our yard. I mean, our houses are really close together, so it's real easy to step into our yard because our driveway and our yards touch. But it's not like they need to be 50 feet into our yard, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I hate to be that old, get the hell off my lawn, old guy, but shit, the other day I was getting the mail, and I just happened to look over toward their house, and one of their kids had a piece of our not our driveway, just the curb. He had broken, our curb is broken right there because we had tree service, like the actual city came out and did like cut down some trees, but they had one of those JLG lifts that had the tank tread on it, and they just rolled over the curb and just broke it. And they told us about it. It was like the ground was completely saturated with water, and they told us that it happened and they would come out and fix it. They just fixed it like 2 days, maybe 3 days ago. But yeah, I looked out and this kid's got it like sitting on his shoulder, like holding it like he's carrying like a tray of drinks, like a waitress. And I look over, I was like, hey, where'd you get that? And he looked at me like, you know, and I was like, put that down. He walked over and set it back down where it came from. I was like, fucking kidding me? I wanted to go out there and strangle him, but it's not my kid.
What was he holding? I'm confused. What was he holding?
A piece of the curb had like about 1.5 foot long chunk of curb, like 25 pounds of concrete. And he was about to throw it at his sister or neighbor kid or something. And I was just like, hey, put that back. And he looked at me like, oh shit, adult, I better go do it, you know. And he did it right then, and I thanked him for it and whatnot. I was like, but hey, just don't be doing stuff like that, especially in our, our part of our yard. And he was like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Like, but where the fuck are his parents? If he would have tossed that at that little girl, I don't know if it was a sister or just the neighbor kid or who, but he would have fucked her up with that shit. And he looked like he was like on the verge, like, I'm about to throw this shit. You know what I mean? You know how you can tell.
Yeah, well, I had an incident like that when I was younger, and I had thrown the sprinkler at my brother, which was one of those kind of elongated sprinklers that goes back and forth.
Yeah,
and kind of makes like.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That like, yeah. You know, I was like 8 years old, maybe 7 or something like that, or maybe even younger. I don't know. It's a very fuzzy memory, but I was really, really little, and I had a temper tantrum and threw that at my brother. But I didn't pick up no 20-pound rock.
Yeah, I don't think he was doing it out of like being pissed off, because none of them were like screaming or anything. It was just like, hey, I wonder what would happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could see the inquisitiveness. None of them kids are over like 6 or 7. Like, they probably just started kindergarten or something. This kid was probably the biggest one. He probably
wouldn't even know that he would hurt his sister like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like, I'll just like hit her, just like I throw other smaller, lighter objects at her,
Yeah, I've hit her with a ball, and I've hit her with a doll, and I've ran the dog into her. Let's see what happens with a 20-pound a concrete hits her. Just
yeah,
being
well,
kids.
kids don't have that, cognitive range, typically, to think that far ahead.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if kids thought like adults. It'd be crazy if adults thought like adults, really. Me and my daughter were talking about that the other day.
That I retain my childlike self, at least some of it. I know I can't act like a child all the time, but I really do kind of suck at adulting.
Well,
I really need to put forth that effort.
It's one thing to be inquisitive by nature and to want to understand things. It's a whole nother thing to just be immature and spiteful and try to cause shit all the time.
I know, it reminds me of all this drama I'm going through. Like, it's like, oh God, I fucking got to deal with these children. Oh, fucking shit.
Yeah, I've been asked to be a manager at a couple places, and to me that's just glorified babysitting, and I'm so sick of adults not being adults. And it's like I was told my whole life, you need to grow up, you need to be an adult, you need to grow up, you need to act like an adult and all this shit. And then I get out in the real world, it's like, what the fuck are they talking about? Nobody acts like an adult. Everybody lies and cheats and late to work and fucking talks shit behind everybody's back and whines and bitch and moans and doesn't do anything about their situation. What the fuck? They're all a bunch of children out there.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, it's pretty bad, I actually do, I admire the actual child, the innocence, of children, when they fuck up, that's, understandable. But then, you get these adults acting like children, and then it's like, I don't know, it just rubs me differently, It's like, did you fantasize about being a total douchebag when you were young, when you were a child yourself? Like, man, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to lie about people and abuse them and shit. Like, are these the fantasies you had when you were a child, going into your adult years?
So yeah, I used to think something like that, but really I think it comes down to people are inconsiderate and don't pay attention for the most part. Because they just were not taught to care or pay attention. You know what I mean? They just watch what their parents do. Their parents fucking tell them, you can't lie, you can't lie, you can't lie. Then their parents just constantly lie to them. You can't cuss, you can't cuss, you can't cuss. That's all they hear their parents doing. You know what I mean? All these things that they pick up as a child, especially from their parents, that, they're going to take along with them as an adult and go, well, my parents did it, so it must be okay, or that must be the way to do it. And then all of society's fucked up because everybody's parents seems to do that, and we all seem to continue on that same path.
Oh, sorry, I forgot my train of thought. I was going to say something, but like my neighbor Kate, a few doors down from me, her sister came and picked her up and took her away, and I had an interesting interaction a week ago. I was talking to her on the phone because this woman comes over to my place and uses my phone all the time, and I help her reach out to whoever she needs to talk to. And I was having a conversation just kind of between her sister and me, and this neighbor wasn't around at the time. And I was like, man, she gets she gets on that dope and she gets very annoying. And she's like, how dare you say annoying? It's a good thing I'm not there. Otherwise, I'd want to punch you. And it's like, dude, that's the truth. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but you're she's coming to my place, endlessly talking, not even allowing pauses or me to jump in. And I try to jump in, and she just talks over me and just fucking keeps on going. And she'll talk for hours and hours and hours. And after a while, I start shutting down and I stop listening, and because I just can't make sense of it all. It's just these ramblings of a mentally ill, doped out person. And anyway, but then I had sent them the Voodoo Leatherworks abuse of me. I sent them the myvoodoostory.com link, and then she had an appropriate for her, I guess, a reaction. She's like, how dare you send that? If you think this was appropriate, you're mistaken. You know, it's like, what? Like, I don't have like no nudity or anything on that website. It's just a story, a general story, you know, of me getting abused, and you know, I explain it. And anyway, so it was just. I was thinking later that they would probably get along. This sister of this one neighbor would probably get along at the sex club, since they're so overly sensitive. Yeah, right. You know,
I feel like in that situation there's a couple different types of people that are if you tell them a story, they have a one-up story, or they have a story that is like, oh well, I'm more of a victim than you because of this story, and it's, I don't know, like I don't know, some people just seem like they're in perpetual victimhood, which is obviously some kind of mental disorder. My mom was like that. Probably my oldest sister picked that up from her. I've just seen multiple people outside of my family and a couple people in it that act like that, and it's just like, obviously it's not healthy, but how do you deal with that? You know, like if that's just the way that people react in general, it's one thing, but whenever someone becomes the victim because someone else has a situation, that's kind of weird. It's like not like Munchausen by proxy, but it's some kind of like,
those kinds of people need empowerment.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it may stem, she just, like, your neighbor or whatever, may just need somebody to vent to, and nobody really listens because what she's venting about is not really nonsense, but it doesn't matter to them, so it's hard to relate. And so to make herself a victim of a situation, it makes her relatable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything. I've observed this type of behavior, especially from my mom and oldest sister, you know, for 15, 20 years. I lived with my sister until I actually moved in with her in one of her first houses, and we lived together with her second husband for 6 or 8 months at least. And, you know, I was 20 years old when my girlfriend was pregnant with my daughter, and was still like watching this type of behavior happen, you know what I'm saying? And I really never understood it. I mean, I get that people can be victimized, and I get that, you know, shit, day-to-day life, for the most part, for a lot of people, is really tough to even just get by in general. And I understand why someone might be depressed about their, you know, shit life or whatnot. But I feel like a lot of people bring that type of stuff onto themselves, and then they perpetuate it to kind of make it like, see, look at me, see how I'm still the victim, you know what I mean? It's one thing when some shit really
like
happens.
They wear it as some sort of status symbol, you know, like, and there's legitimate, like, you know, as you were saying, there's like legitimate victim cases, and I kind of feel like I go through this perpetual victimhood myself, but it's like, these are things that I could prove, you know, and like, from my family attacking me to coming out here and ending up in jail after being attacked, then being made homeless, and then having a whole bunch of fucking assholes, you know, call the cops on me, and making stuff up, calling the cops on me just to get me removed on the side of the road. And now I'm here, and I'm trying to visit, you know, a sex club and be part of the community that cares, you know, about, you know, people that are abused and everything. And then just to be abused in this way that I am. Like, I mean, the dude filed a malicious, a false restraining order against me. And then he tried to throw me in jail over my Voodoo Leatherworks abuse of me blog. Like, straight up, he tried to throw me in jail, like, to take my freedoms away because I protest his shitty business and blog. You know, like what the fuck? You know? Yeah,
that's another crazy thing is the way that it's so easy to manipulate others through those type of tactics. Like, if you attack somebody to try to cancel them before anybody knows what's going on, you can kind of build up a following of people that'll just believe whatever. What's that?
That's what's happening to me. Like he fucks me off with the band, like, oh yeah, you did this really horrible thing, you're banned, you know, and then he trying to silence me so I can't fucking, you know, have any chance of fucking being hurt, even by the supposed people I made fun of, you know, because they're sexual assault victim, you know, being a victim of that, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm protesting out here so I could be heard. It's the only chance I have of, you know, maybe being heard by these people that, you know, you're probably, you know, building relationships on, just hating on me, you know, and it's like, I don't know, it's very unfair, I think. And,
well, from their perspective, I can see how they think that it's like an attack because that is an offensive move, but it's an offensive move only because of the move they took first. So it's like it's like that Rittenhouse shit. Rittenhouse gets dropped off at the spot with the rifle that his mom probably bought him and all this shit. You know what I'm saying? He's not old enough to really be in that situation. He's been put in a spot, you know, and then gets in deep shit, does some crazy shit, and then it's like, well, it really wasn't his fault because he didn't intend to do that. Well, what the fuck was he there for? You know, what was the real intent of that situation? Had he not been there, that definitely wouldn't happen. Well, I'm just saying, like, they're the Rittenhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, they start the shit, and then I'm sorry, not they start the shit, but they're there with the intent to do something of that nature, and then it happens, but they're the victim. See what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, oh, this dude is crying very, very hard.
Well, it's like, how if you have all the power and you basically shit on someone, and then, you know, you have to do something to get behind that and make sure that you're always going to be looked at as a victim. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you totally forget the fact that the situation is they have the power, you know what I'm saying, to do what they did, and then they're playing the victim at the same time. It's like, well, you can't do both. You know what I'm saying? You can't show up with a gun at a fucking rally and basically start a fucking riot and not expect some consequences, even though I guess now that really, I don't, you know what I mean? Fuck. So now, now people can get away.
He cleaned a bit of graffiti off, you know, so he's, you know, he's an upstanding citizen, you know, like you do a few good deeds, right? You get a few freebie bad ones, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that I grew up with that were like that. It's like, yeah, but I threw a homeless guy $5. Yeah, but you just stole a vehicle, ran through a bunch of people's yards and fucked their shit up, trying to escape the cops, and you almost killed yourself. Then you fucked the car up and can't even sell it now or do whatever you're gonna do with it, and now you're the victim because you can't pay rent. It's like, why didn't you just fucking not skip work the last week? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, you went to a concert and spent $300. How much is your rent? Oh, it's $300. Who fucked up? You know, you're not the victim in this situation, bud.
Yeah, but they try very hard to be. And yeah, this dude at Mediation last week was just like, you know, I don't even know if I should talk about it, but I probably should, just because I'm an open person. And but he was crying really hard, like, you know, well, first of all, he was talking about the drugs, that Chris does drugs, you know, he's, you know, so he everything that he wrote originally on the fucking restraining order, he just didn't mention. He's like, he's making up all new shit now, you know, and it's like, well, Chris drug use. And then you know, after talking shit about that, which I'm sure running a sex club, none of his fucking fuck buddies ever do drugs, right?
Well,
you know,
what does you doing drugs have anything to do with that anyway? Because as long as you're not literally causing a scene because you're too high or fucked up, you know, like half the people we know, like literally half the people we know are on some sort of drug. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously some of them are just pharmaceuticals, but a lot of them do more than just, you know what I mean, fix someone's heart rate or whatever. People be getting high off that shit. They take extra painkillers, and you know what I mean. People are all about being influenced on drugs, and that whole, oh, they're on drugs, prudence type shit. It's like, really, dude? What the fuck? I guarantee if you look into it enough, everybody is either, you know, drinking alcohol on a regular basis, and if they're not doing that, they're smoking weed, and if they're not doing that, there's some sort of thing that's getting their dopamine, that's helping them cope and do their, you know, get that dopamine that they need, whether it's hard street drugs or pharmaceuticals or even just being overly religious or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? There's a drug for everybody out there.
I just found it humorous just because you know, like the dude probably, you know, bangs a lot of people that are on drugs, but
oh yeah,
you know, it's okay to knock me, you know, but and it's out of sight of the other people in his social circle at the mediation, so he can't fucking, you know, expose himself like that. But I just fucking, you know, tell the truth, you know, and what was said. And another thing that was said was, you know, well, with all these mass shootings, you know, and the way that Chris looks, or he said something along those lines, you know, like I'm really worried about my family's safety, you know, like I'm gonna fucking shoot up the place, dude. I did two protests without ever touching a gun, you know, like, and now he's gonna cry like, oh, you know, I just look violent, and there we go again with the. There's nothing that I could do, T-Rex. There's nothing I could do to ever dispel that fucking, that shitty stigma that is attached to us goths. When I was going to Neo back in the day, it was by Clark and Fullerton, and I would walk down out Clark Street to my car, and either to just go there and smoke or leave. Entirely, but I remember having a person throw like a beer bottle. It was an empty beer bottle, but it still hurt because it hit me in the fucking head. And they drove by me, and they're like Columbine, and then threw some shit at me because I was all gothed out. And one last thing with that is, there's like goth chicks that go to this fucking sex club, but that's okay because they got boobs. They got boobs. You know, and you got a penis and you want to use it on those boobs. But I'm fucking goth, so I'm like nefarious and evil. You know, I got a penis. You know, this guy doesn't want that. You know, so fuck this guy. You know, and it's like, you know, I thought that was something to let people know too, because again, he's at mediation and he could hide this from his social circle, all the trash talking that he did to me. And but I'll let people know. And if you don't think I could prove what he said, if there's any stalkers listening, I could prove what he said verbatim.
Sorry, I was in the middle of hitting a point. I feel like it's easier to be a hypocrite that way whenever you build up an offense first. Granted, the situation kind of came out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Because it was just, you know, you had an issue with someone or they had an issue with what you said to them, and they went and reported you, and then he
trying to call someone an asshole.
Yeah, and then he freaked out on you. So I think it's easier for him to, like I said before, to kind of wash his hands of it if he gets out in front of it and tries to make you look like completely horrible. And then, you know, if you're protesting out in front of his business, he's just going to call the cops to try to get rid of you, because for a business, that's the easiest thing to do. The cops are probably used to being called for that on situations all over, you know what I'm saying? So to them, it's just an everyday thing. But to you, it's a literal attack on you, because as a citizen, you're not responsible, but you're allowed to do a peaceful protest, whether it's you or 1,000 or 100,000 people, as long as nobody's getting hurt or killed or really in danger of any sort, which you're standing out there dancing on the sidewalk with a sign, right? You know, so what the
Well, I'm mostly sitting back and bouncing.
Whatever.
But I do stand up and stretch and dance.
At the most, the closest you get to being violent is bouncing around dancing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, to me, he's literally trying to play a victim, because how is that threatening? You know what I'm saying? He's a grown-ass man and a business owner, and the threat to his business is a guy standing out in front, dancing, telling a story of the shit that's actually going on. So maybe that's what he's scared of. He's scared of the truth coming out.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like, I think he just he made a bad decision. Thought he could fuck me off easily, and I would not be fucked off so easily. I felt done really, really wrong, you know. And then he took a minor situation, like all this shit. Everything on my protest signs was like the lowest form of a predator and an abuser. Like the horse boy, the teacher, used a moment of weakness of mine to pervert something that I was trying to say into something that I wasn't trying to say at all. And that's very predatory. And then he used that to ban me, which is abusive. So, like, my sign rang true from the beginning. Like, I don't just make shit up, though. But now it's a severe case of abuse and predatory behavior. And he did try calling the cops on me, by the way. It's in the restraining order, and the cops really didn't do anything. See how he likes it.
Yeah, because
the cops don't do anything for him.
He doesn't own the sidewalk, he doesn't own the streets, and as long as you're not within a certain distance of him specifically, what can they really do, you know? And you're not physically threatening him or any of his patrons or whatnot. And so, you know, they don't see you as a threat unless they, you know, specifically roll up on you and they have an intent to see you as a threat. That can't happen.
Speaking of which, rolling up on me, like there was a driver during my second protest. I should give you these audios. Well, I do want to keep them close to my chest until after this next court date. But in this, I never released the second audio because I'm like literally reading out loud at like every single license plate of every single vehicle passing me by. So just out of, and I'm farting a lot, but I'd still release it if I was farting a lot. But it's mainly, you know, like it's like too much reading of the license plate. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like keep this one to myself here because, you know, it's like too much. And there's probably innocent people in the crossfire there. So I'm not, you know, I just have beef with two motherfuckers, and one of those motherfuckers is like a very minor beef, and then, you know, the very major beef is this fucking particular asshole. But there was a chick that drove up to me, and she was looking for the place because there's two separate parking lots on either side of the building, and it's like a 2-story building. So there's like a little dance place on the second floor or top floor. It's located on the hill, so it's like the parking lot like matches up with like one side of the building, and then like as the hill goes down, then their side of the parking lot like matches up with their lower level. Right. It's weird, but
I had a friend that had a house like that. The front door was the top floor, but the back door was the basement. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And this chick is like, "Where's Voodoo Leatherworks?" And I explained to her where it was. I'm like, "Yeah, it's right here." And then I explained myself really quickly. I don't remember what was said exactly, but you know, I was like, "Yeah, tell you know, so and so that, you know, thanks for denying me healing and that he's a fucking asshole." You know, or something like that. And then he came into like mediation, like, "Oh, you know, Chris is acting like he's directing traffic and that. You know, it's like, man, bitch, the fucking woman came up to me looking, and I kindly told her where the place was, and we had a kind chat, maybe awkward, maybe slightly uncomfortable because, you know, she's going to this place to have a fun time, and I'm fucking out there, you know, having my grievance. You know, but, you know, he's really trying to reach, which is why I nicknamed him Super Stretch Armstrong. This is his extreme reach.
Caught me off guard with that.
Oh man, I'm having so much fun. I'm having so much fun, like trash talking and everything. Like it is.
Sorry about that.
It is so fun. I have this one tweet that I'm very proud of because I'm like, man, I should give this horseboy dude a break because, you know, watching your buddy get raped as a result of his own mistakes, you know, could be very traumatic. You know, and I understand trauma. All right. You know, so.
Well, also, yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at with the Rittenhouse analogy. It was really that a lot of people use their victimization, air quotes, but they're the ones that put themselves in that situation. Had he not stepped up and put his foot down like he was obviously he is the authority when it comes to his business and who's come and go and whatnot, but the way that he reacted, you know what I'm saying? Most people aren't. Okay, so I guarantee most of his life, with 99% of people, he does the stuff that he did to you, and people just leave him alone because they're like, well, fuck, I can't fuck with him now. You know what I'm saying? But most people aren't going to go, well, you know what? I know my fucking rights as a fucking American citizen, and I'm going to fucking protest. This is bullshit. And now he's like, oh, fuck, I have to deal with some real shit now. And it's easier to be a hypocrite and a liar and make shit up and try to defame you before than to actually deal with it and be like, look, I fucked up. I was a little too aggressive in this situation. I should have investigated a little better and, you know, took the time to understand the issues that were actually going on instead of, you know, segregate you out of the group and, you know, make an example out of you, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, the dude claims that he's ex-military. He's a military vet as well, you know, and to have him cry just so hard that, like he cried on December 6th to try to have me thrown in jail, or at least that's when the cops responded. Maybe it was December 5th that he made the original call. But, you know, like, oh man, I'm so scared of this guy. See, this guy wrote, you know, dick in his blog a lot. And my name is, you know, similar, you know, and to just have me thrown in jail. And then when we're at mediation, you know, he's like, oh, the way that this guy dresses and everything, you know, I don't know, with all the mass shootings. And another thing on the mass shooting things is like, that's something that we all gotta fucking deal with as Americans, because America, you know, like,
right.
But just to have him cry really hard, I had someone suggest that meme picture of the Joker. You know, there's that meme picture that I have of, you know, when the Joker is like, I just want my phone call. And it's like, it's a meme picture of that. But I replaced the phone call with protest, you know, because
right.
I want my protest, you know. And they're like, well, that could kind of maybe be seen as, you know, something violent. And I'm like, oh, please let the dude cry that he is such a pussy. You know, oh, please have that be in the transcripts of court that I'm going to release, please.
See, growing up with three sisters, I dealt with this type of behavior because, okay, so I had an older sister, and then I had a sister that was 14 months younger than me, but not quite a year and a half, and they would team up. My oldest sister, you know, she's like 5 years older than me, so she was, you know, smart enough to manipulate us younger kids, and she would basically use these similar tactics, and she would say, hey, go tell Jeremy this or that, or go do this to Jeremy, and if he reacts this way, run to mom and say he attacked you, but if he reacts this way, come to me and we'll team up on him, you know what I'm saying? And like, it was a constant, like an instigation almost, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd just be sitting there playing video games and I'd hear someone walking up behind me, but I'd be focused on the video game enough that I didn't react, but I could see their reflection in the TV or something, and then boom, all of a sudden my hair's getting pulled, like getting a picture of ice water dumped over my head or something just crazy out of nowhere, and then I react to it and retaliate, and then I get in trouble because, the shit happened to me.
Because they planned it out that way.
Right. And then they got their stories together so that they could, lie and manipulate against me. And had I took the time and, figured out what the fuck they were doing and how they did it, and then told my mom before they could say, get me to, react in the way that I did, then, I could have got out in front of it. But there's really no way to do that when in these situations, because how did you know that was coming? You know what I'm saying? It's just like being blindsided. You're just walking along and a bus hits you on the sidewalk. It's like, I was on the sidewalk, so.
And I think that's one, that leads into this awesome point is they thought they could probably get away with this with me. But see, I've been in much worse situations where I've been railroaded in far worse ways than this, that this is actually kind of nothing.
Yeah, it's it's fun almost. It's like, oh, we're just going to play with these.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I actually don't think I could sue anymore for there is some level of emotional distress because I am kind of hiding out because I feel that this guy is going to try to bait me, into jail. Like, I hang out at that goth place that does this one goth thing on Sunday night, and he could show up there and try to fucking ruin my day. But I feel really good. I could not have thought of a better way for me to heal myself. I'm having a hard time finding a therapist after 9 years of the recent trauma, and then all the trauma before that I haven't even talked about, because I got all this recent shit just staring me in the face. And so I am kind of turning this situation into my own therapy. I want to protest. I felt good about it. It was nice being out there. And another thing, oh my God, I didn't even think I was this effective. After the second protest, I'm like, man, I don't know how long I could keep this up. I don't seem to be really, having an effect. And then fucking, like a blessing, it's like, oh no, you're having an effect, all right. It's like, oh shit, damn, I'm now highly motivated to continue this.
Yeah, so either they noticed enough people noticing you, or maybe even people are like, hey, what's up with that going on? You know what I'm saying? So obviously, if you continue to do that, people that are regulars are gonna obviously get to know you and see you, and he's gonna.
Oh, they hate me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, have you seen? Yeah, so I got this new tactic, and I'd be outing myself too, so it's all fair. But at the bottom of my my website, myvoodoostory.com, I have the screenshots of just a short message that I sent to people, and I've had two so far. One of them's like, fuck off, and then the other one's like, I don't give a flying fuck. Which okay, so I'm being abused by the sex club, and you guys say that you fucking care, about, abuse and everything. Oh, but they only could understand sexual abuse. If it's any other abuse, then it's okay, but if it doesn't involve genitals, then they just can't make sense of it, So I'm just using people's own words against them. I mean, you're making the community look shitty. You are making yourselves look shitty. I'm just telling the story. And to top this all off, this point here is, I warn them. I warn them that I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm some weirdo that wants to run for president, and I have this story to tell and help people write their own chapters in my book that I have, to tell America, and whatever it is, the reality is what's going to be written in the book. And they didn't take that shit seriously at all. They're like, well, whatever, we're just fucking, make up a bunch of shit and, get a restraining order and blah, blah, blah. And then he's going to decimate every single argument, and then we're going to pivot at mediation, which the court's not going to buy that pivoting bullshit either. It's like, what did you originally write on the fucking restraining order? Because that's what the fucking court is going to fucking look at.
Yeah, because if they try to change that, they're just going to drop it. They're just going to be like, you're a joke, So, yeah, I've been through that shit before.
Oh, yeah. The biggest thing, and I guess we're like almost an hour into this So I'll fucking spill the beans on this. I've been trying to keep this close to my chest, but I just can't because it's too lovely. Well, anyway, so he's crying a lot about his family safety. He's like, well, I need my family, 300 feet, Chris. You know, and it's like, what does your family have to do with any of this? I was just protesting a business. And I even agreed. I wasn't going to sign, but I just wanted to see how the dude would react. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll sign, you know, like to stay away from your house and, you know, your family. And he's like, no, the business too. You know, and it's like, because that's what it's really about.
Right, because that's his livelihood. But the thing is, he brought that on himself. Because, you know what I mean? Like, also, what the fuck was he gonna prove, you know what I'm saying, by doing that, you know? I just, from my perspective, I feel like if you're getting a restraining order, it's because you're truly in fear of your physical, you know, being physically harmed, or, you know what I'm saying, like someone's stalking you, or
something
like
legitimate.
My mom got a restraining order against my stepdad before they got divorced because she was scared. He has said shit like, if I can't be with you, nobody else can, and he's held a gun to her before. So, you know, that makes that makes sense, you know? Like, she was off her feet. Like, he had her, like, she had to hold his arm to pull her body weight up so that she wasn't, like, choking type of shit with her feet off the floor, type gun to her head shit. You know, so I can get that. But.
Well, sorry to interrupt. I mean, I make them upset, so it might as well be violence.
Yeah,
you know, I make them upset, violence. You know, it's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah, that mentality right now is getting out of control, and I understand that there has to be some amount of authority that can step in and, you know, take charge and make sure that people aren't fucking over people, or people aren't physically attacking anybody, because, you know, we live in a civilized society for the most part. The way that people just get away with this shit is just, or think that they can, just baffles me. It's I feel like it's almost like built in now for I know I probably said this last time, but the best defense is a good offense, you know. So to attack someone's character, what is that, ad hominem or whatever, to go after someone's character over what their actions actually are, or their intent, which is what they can't prove in court, obviously, but you can kind of get an idea after, you know, interviewing someone and asking the right questions. You can kind of get a good idea of who they are. Like, just watching the couple interviews between you and TJ, I was like, I understood. I could relate to a lot of your situations, and I understood where you were coming from because of the context of the situation, or the, you know, the conversation that you were having. If people took any amount of time to understand that context, they would get where you're coming from. But people get defensive, usually immediately, because even if they're already on your side and just don't even know it. Because I've had arguments before where it's like, wait, and halfway through the argument, it's like, wait, are you on my side? Wait, what? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, why am I arguing with you?
Yeah, what the fuck happened here? I thought you were on their side, but yeah, but then you end up, you know, either they can't admit that they were, you know, on your side, and then you continue to, you know, it's like, whatever, fuck you, fuck off. Or it's like, oh, you know, now you can relate to each other on that whatever subject or topic, and then you actually can get along. And that's actually happened to me in real life, where, you know, me and my sisters would get in an argument at home. One of them would tell one of their friend, oh, I got a brother that'll beat him up, and their brother comes to the park and it's like, hey, my sister told me to come here and beat you up because your sister said some shit. And I'd be like, oh, well, this is, and he'd explain what happened. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, she said she did some shit like that to me the other day in class or something. You know what I mean? It's like, and then we'd end up being acquaintances or friends over it. You know, it's like, Well, that backfired on her or
I
them.
still feel uncomfortable though. Like I would still feel uncomfortable because that person like was originally seeking to put violence upon you. But I guess
Right,
they were man enough to talk about it. But
right, that's actually how a group of one. Right, exactly. That's how a group of my friends became my friends for like 15 years. We did have a falling out eventually, but that was over some completely other shit. But basically, I'm sitting on the swing set board, like 2 blocks from my house. Was a little elementary school, so I was sitting there on the playground. I was like 13, probably 7th or 8th grade, and these 3 guys walk up, and I kind of recognized them from school, but I didn't really know who they were. And the bigger of the 3, which he became my best friend for like 10 years, he was like, so your sister tells us that you like attacked her or something verbally, blah blah blah, whatever it was. And I'm like, yeah, but she's an instigating cunt, so fuck her. What are you gonna do about it? And these 3 guys were like, wait, like this guy is standing here by himself in the middle of the park, nowhere to run, nobody to help, and he's telling us fuck off, do something. I was in prime physical condition. They were all kind of schlubby, and I played football, and I also I had an attitude problem then, so even if they would have been able to get me, I was going to fight. I was going to hit all 3 of them in the face regardless. I had martial arts training, and I had 3 sisters, so I'm used to 3-on-1 anyway. So, not that either of them are guys or whatever, but they immediately were like, you know what, dude, she's a bitch. Whatever. And then we all just kind of hit it off, and we literally were together 24/7 for like the next 10 to 15 years straight. You know what I'm saying? Until I got my DUI and couldn't be around people on drugs or alcohol, and then that became an issue. But that's adult shit, you know what I'm saying? But when we were 12 to 20, that shit never, would have occurred. But get a little older.
I mean, because I stopped talking with someone, that doesn't necessarily mean we had a falling out. It's just like life happens. Sometimes people move, they change their name, get married, and you just grow apart.
Yeah,
that's just life.
Yeah, I had a lot of people like that in my life back then that are just, we never really had an actual falling out. But my closest friends, basically, we had a falling out because I got a DUI. It was stupid. It was one of so I have like 7 really close friends, and then I have like their close friends that were always around but weren't really super close to me, but since they were always around, I considered them a friend because we were all good together and shit. Anyways, so basically that second layer, like friend group, I go to a birthday party, last call happens, and I had gotten dropped off there at like 11 o'clock. It's like 1:30, so they're like, well, we'll just drop you off at the house, but we're gonna have an after party at one of our other friends' house. I get dropped off at home, grab a 6-pack and some weed and some blunts, and then hop in the car and drive over there. And it's like literally 4:20, and one of my friend's girlfriends walks up and hands me her phone and is like, your girl needs to talk to you. And she's like, are you coming fucking home? And I was like, we'll finish smoking and I'll be home. And she's like, no, you need to come home now. So I was like, whatever. So I just dipped out, and 6 blocks from the house, I got in a wreck. So that wreck right there, I got a DUI. I lost my license. Had to, pay a bunch of fines. So I had to get a better job. So I got probation for 18 months, but during that probation, I had to have random drug drops, which could be literally 7 days in a week, or it could be once every 6.
Oh my god!
Yes.
How'd you get 18 months?
Well, I think it was because it was my first actual real offense as an adult, and I was super honest. They asked me like what drugs you were doing and all this shit, and I just I'm a guilty person, so I just straight up was honest with them, and because I was scared I was going to get in more trouble if I lied and they found out, you know what I'm saying? So
well, same here. That's all true for me too. Like, but I'm referring to I broke into my high school, and then we, stole a TV out of it and got into a high-speed police chase with 31 cops on a helicopter, and I wasn't the driver of that vehicle, so they didn't, I actually tried getting out of the vehicle when the pursuit started. But anyway, I got 5 years probation for that. They cut me off a year early for good behavior, but it was like 5 years probation, and then you get a DUI, and it's like 18 months probation. It's like, what?
yeah, I don't know.
I know
That is weird. But well, my main point of the story, and we can get back to that in just a second. My main point of the story was going through all that. Within 90 days of that happening, I knew that I was going to lose my license. I was going to be on probation. I'm going to have random drug docs because I'd been to court a couple times. Then I had to tell my friends, listen, y'all can come over here and get drunk as fuck, do whatever you want. You can get high as you want and come over, or even go smoke in your car every 20 minutes if you want. You can come over here and hang out. You just can't I can't be right in front of it. I can't be exposed to it because it's too tempting. So the way that I can not go to prison is to not be exposed to it. So if you want to drink a 6-pack in a half hour and then come over and we hang out and play video games, or you just can't go a half hour without smoking, bring a fucking hitter box and sit it in your car, and fucking our neighbors are fine. They're not gonna. I've done that shit for fucking 20 goddamn years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's reasonable.
But they were like, no, you're on bullshit. It's like, wait, I'm trying to give you guys options. I can't come hang out with you with 15 people drinking and smoking around me because someone's gonna be like, here, and I'm gonna not think about it, and I'm gonna hit it, and then tomorrow I'm gonna get a drug test, or later today, and I'm gonna go to fucking prison over this shit. I'm gonna miss out on the first few years of my child's life, and I'm not willing to do that. And so I was the issue over that. So, and a lot of them don't even remember that. I've talked to a few of them since then, and they're like, so why did you stop hanging out? I'm like, you don't fucking remember? You seriously? It's like, oh, really? That's why? It's like, you guys fucking don't remember this? That's how fucked up you guys are, So
yeah, well, I mean, when they're all drunk and everything, they're not taking in all the details, and they're like, well, this guy's just a douchebag, don't want to hang out with us no more because he's just, a sober prick and he thinks he's better than us. And it's like, no, you're trying to be responsible, and you were trying not to be tempted because you knew that you wanted to do these things, but to have that shit right in front of you is like, you increases your chances of fucking up.
Yeah, it's like dangling that carrot, and I love carrots, so I'm gonna grab the carrot, But I was told I was unlucky by a couple of my friends because I got my girl pregnant at a younger age than everybody. I was a year and a half older than most of them. There was like 2 of us that were all in a same age range, but everybody else was like a year and a half, 2 years younger than us. And I get told all the time, you're so unlucky you got your girlfriend pregnant and you had your kids such an early age. I'm like, dude, when I'm like 38, I'm going to be in party mode, and you're going to be like, if you have a kid in the next 10 years, you're going to be like 50 and not be able to even walk, and you're going to be like, your kid's going to want to go play basketball, and you're not going to be able to even do it. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather get this out of the way now.
That hurts me too, but I'm 40, and if I had a kid now, oh my God, like when he's 20, I'm going to be 60, but I think I'm going to be one of those more active older people because I still enjoy dancing. And there was this guy like in his mid 50s that would, always go out dancing. So I'm probably going to be one of those weird older people. Hopefully, we'll see.
Well, the people I'm talking about, their idea of physical activity was playing video games while smoking and drinking. So that's about as physical as they get. But,
so I want to jump back really quick on the family thing that the dude was crying about, because he was like, my family that he cares so much about that he never fucking mentioned in the fucking restraining order. You know, like, yeah, I know, dude. This dude is so stupid. Oh my God. You know, oh my God. I love being the critical thinker that I am, and I'm able to point these things out. If this wasn't if this was a different time of my life, it would have maybe been successful. You know, I would not be able to break it down because I'm not able to have my mind and, you know, think these thoughts and whatnot. But, and I need to reread the fucking restraining order thing, you know, just to double check. But I am pretty fucking sure he never, ever, ever mentions his family. So his pivoting, after I decimated every single one of his arguments in the Voodoo Leatherworks Abuse of Me blog, that's what it's titled. It's all the way at the bottom of my blog because it was the first entry on that particular website. And I broke down every single one of his fucking bullshit arguments. And I'm pretty sure I would have, you know, included family in there had it been on the fucking paperwork when I was, you know, responding to it like 2 weeks ago, like when I wrote about it. But I didn't mention his family because he didn't mention his family. And now he's, you know, like pivoting. And it's like, dude, that shit ain't gonna fly. Fucking asshole. And then, like, he tried to throw me in jail. Oh, hell no. I got Operation 300 Feet bitch going, you know, which is going to get, you know, essentially a restraining order put against him and see how he likes being told 300 feet. Because I know the dude is stalking me, and stopping his stalking now won't fucking change the fact that he was stalking me from November 15th, you know, till, you know, a few weeks, you know, probably early December. And this shit is researchable and discoverable with proper discovery. And I'm definitely going to demand the court to look into this matter. Because then, you know, when it's proven that the dude is stalking me and trying to log into my account, I'm going to get a restraining order against him and see how he fucking likes it. And he did it to himself if he didn't escalate. Like, he could have just fucked me off, had my protest. I would have eventually been bored. But now I'm, like, really super interested in continuing my protest and, like, doubling and tripling my efforts. Because I was just showing up, like, once a week. You know, it was kind of like the original pattern. But now it's like, man, I'm going to do this shit twice a week or 3 times a week now. And I don't mind walking home because I think they're changing their times and everything for a later time because they got these parties lasting until midnight now, you know, and then the bus isn't running then. Well, I'll fucking walk home. I'll walk home 2.5 hours. Oh yeah, I'll do that. You know, fuck yeah. Yeah. You know, because this is my therapy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, is there a way that you could do some sort of thing to retaliate in any manner or fashion? But yeah, that's probably about the best way you can go about it is to, you know, basically whatever they do the same, mirror their steps, basically. You know what I'm saying?
I'm good at dancing.
If they threaten to call the cops, just call the cops. If they fill out a restraining order, you get a restraining order. You know what I mean? So that's literally all you can do.
But I don't want to be calling the cops on them.
Well, I'm saying, if it comes a situation, you're out there on the sidewalk and they approach you and they're like, hey, you got to get out of here or we're calling the cops. Be like, well, I'll call them for you if you want because I have a legal right to be here. Or, you know, that type of shit.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, yeah.
But not just call the cop on them randomly.
You mind? Yeah, I don't like to waste the cops' time. I mean, they're busy harassing the homeless people and hanging out at Walmart. So, you know, I mean, they got their priorities.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit right there. It's like...
I know.
The amount of...
I was being sarcastic with that, so people don't take me too seriously with that comment. I really do care a lot about the homeless people, and it's terrible that they get harassed in the way that they do constantly. It's like kicking people when they're down, and it's so accepted in American society. I just like, wow, what have we become? Like, and people really don't give it that much thought. They're like, oh, there's that piece of trash homeless person. He hasn't showered in like 2 weeks, and it's like, yeah, there's probably reasons behind that. And, you know, you're just not taking the time to really understand. And, you know, like, how dare you react in that way anyway?
Yeah, I was talking to my son-in-law. I was going to help him move some stuff yesterday, which he didn't actually need my help, but that's besides the point. But we got into talking about, actually I was talking about you and how you were helping people out, and, you know, how, you'll get to know somebody and then offer them, hey, if you need to take a shower or whatever, you need a place to warm up for a couple hours and have some conversation or whatever, and you hook people up. And he's looking at me like, there's people like that aren't like Catholics or whatever. And it's like, yeah, there's people out there all the time doing all this stuff that you wouldn't realize. And he's like, oh, that's really cool of this guy. And like, yeah, there's not enough people out there that are like that, but there's a lot of people out there that are like that. But the problem is there's so many people that need help that, you obviously can't do it on your own. You can't offer everybody a shower or a warm meal or whatnot, but the few people that you help, it helps you feel good about yourself, and it helps those people, have a little ray of sunshine in a day that, normally they probably go through like, holy fuck, the world is just, I can't get ahead, you know what I'm saying? Which, I mean, even if you have a job and a car and fucking everything that you need, it's still fucking tough. But imagine having nowhere to go at the end of the day, no matter how hard you struggle to get by, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of these motherfuckers are not just sitting in the alley in a fucking cardboard box. They're out there hustling their motherfucking ass off to get their fix for the day or whatever it is, or just to, just to get some food or whatnot, depending on the type of person they are. But, I've seen motherfuckers, literally, I was like, man, if this motherfucker could be here every day on time and be here scheduled, I'd hire his ass. But he was out there fucking flipping work and buying and selling electronic equipment, and trading and doing all these things. Oh, you need me to go run and do this for you? Got me any favors you need done and errands and stuff? It's like, dude, this motherfucker would be amazing as a personal assistant. If anybody hired him for any amount of money, he'd fucking be worth it. You know what I'm saying? But to society, he's a worthless piece of shit. But if you say, hey, I know it's 2021, but I found Ninja Turtles 1, the original movie, but I have no way to play it. Give me 20 minutes, and hey, he gets back, it'll be $6. Like, are you making anything? Yeah, I got it for $4, so I'm cool. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? So, oh
man, did you give him like a 20 or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because this dude was fucking working his ass off. Like, here's a $10 and a joint. You know what I'm saying? Cool, thanks. I'll see you tomorrow. Next time I see you, I'll see you first. Cool, because this is fucking awesome.
I'm kind of like that friend too. Like sometimes, like, back in my past, not now, and definitely a different location than Colorado, but I would get very cheap weed. And I would be like, yeah, here's the $3 joint. It cost me just over $1 to make it. And I'm like giving it like a $2 profit and shit. It's like, but I don't like to like bend people over and like $5, seemed to be a little much. And so yeah, I was kind of like your buddy there. That like, oh yeah, I picked this up for $4. I'll sell it to you for $6. I'm getting $2 out of it.
Yeah, so like, he was fine with that because all he had to do was walk 10 blocks, talk to some people, maybe trade them for something, or whatever, some little simple trade, whatnot, and then he's back in 10 minutes, and he just made $2 in 10 minutes. So if he does that, 6 times an hour, he just made more than what most people are doing minimum wage, and he's out on the block getting high, smoking, drinking, doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? The bad thing is at fucking 8 p.m. when everybody heads home from the beaches and a lot of the storefronts close, he's out there fucking sleeping on a bench and getting harassed by cops. It's like, dude, he's not hurting nobody. He's not really the most productive member of society, but he's doing more than a lot, and he's not hurting nobody. I mean, yeah, I understand. No glass on the beach type of shit. If dude's out there throwing fucking glass bottles on the beach, yeah, fucking get on him. But that ain't what he's doing. So,
Yeah, we really like to punch down in America, or at least that's what a lot of the laws and policies, going on. And I understand like certain things, like they're peeing in the stream and everything, and the bacteria in the stream is, increasing to, 10 times the normal level. And it's like, well, yeah, why don't you provide them a fucking outhouse? Like, every half mile or something.
Yeah.
Facilitate a fucking outhouse and maintain it, and there you go. Then you're not wasting these cops' time with all this bullshit, and trying to then you're throwing people in jail because they rubbed you the wrong way or whatever, as an officer. And it's just such time saving, money saving, better all around for everybody, just provide places for people to use the bathroom. And we can't even have that simple conversation. It's like, oh no, they shouldn't be there. You see, they're not the same. We have this fucking city ordinance, all right, and city ordinance 214267, and blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah, that city ordinance was made by people that just hate fucking homeless people, and it doesn't really solve the problem.
Yeah.
If the problem is too much bacteria in the stream because people are defecating and urinating in it, then a viable solution, I think, a viable, cheap solution that's peaceful all around is providing outhouses. I know it sounds really simple,
Yeah,
but sometimes are simple like that.
Yeah, in LA, they were having that problem. I think they had on average, they have 40 or 45,000 homeless people in this one area, and they used to have 20 outhouses out there, or porta-johns or whatever, and they would keep up on them, but they would get overfilled to a point because more and more people would start showing up. But they didn't add any more porta-johns, so if you got more people, they're going to get filled up faster. So if they didn't stay on it, those fuckers would get overflowed, and it would be a lot of extra cleanup. So instead of saying, hey, we'll just throw 5 or 10 more of them out there to make up for the more population, they said, fuck this, we're getting rid of all of them except for one of them. And that made it obviously way worse. So for a period of years, shit got worse. And, they would, businesses would have people walk up in there and, using their restrooms or just shitting in a booth or something. It's like, well, your government kind of did that to you. You know what I'm saying? The owners of those stores would be pissed off at the homeless people. The citizens and the shoppers or whatever, the consumers would be pissed off at the homeless people. The government is pissed off at the homeless people, and they're just like, what the fuck do you want us to do? What can we do? You know what I'm saying? And then I guess they put some of them back how it originally was, which kind of alleviated some of the situation, but didn't fix it. You know what I mean? So if they had 20 before, they put 18 or 19 of them back to make it back to 20, but they forgot the population grew over the last 4 or 5 years, so they didn't do anything to facilitate anybody. They just kind of put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and hope for the best,
Oh, I was going to say, I just remembered. I'm sorry. I'm sure all the streams around that area or rivers, when they got rid of all those outhouses, I'm sure the bacteria levels rose, since they removed all that shit. And then, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to spend, 1,000 times more money or something, and we're going to hire more cops to instead of just fucking doing the outhouse thing, it's like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of like the other argument is, well, they're homeless, give them housing. Well, we can't do that because that's not what they want. A lot of these people are mentally ill or whatever and just can't be homeowners. It's like, well, you don't have to give them a fucking $150,000 3-story house. You need to give them housing, as in a place to fucking go home and lay their head at night. It could be just a fucking small apartment with, some bullshit furniture in it, but it's something, you know what I'm saying? Instead of fucking being on the streets, getting arrested every fucking other day. There's some guy, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure we talked about this before, and I'm pretty sure he's from Colorado, that he said that in the last 10 or 20 years, he slept in jail at least 2 or 3 times a week, and they averaged it out to 1 every 3 days. So every 72 hours, he spent 24 hours in jail. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I mean, so it'd be like 1 week he'd be out for 5 days, and then he'd be in jail for 3 days. Then he'd be out for 6 days, and then in jail for 3 or 4 days. You know, so. But if you average it out, it was every 1 out of every 3 days for a 10-year period. How much money did that cost the government, and how much would rent and to like a small apartment and water and power be? You know what I mean? Like, that's literally.
If we didn't spend all that money on hatred, how will people learn? All right, you know.
Yeah, it's sickening to me, because if we're really supposed to be a civilized society, how is this shit going on? There's all these charities out there. There's all these help groups. There's government social programs and all this stuff. But then the mentality of the people in general is, well, fuck it, lock them up. You know, they're trespassing. Yeah. They're worthless to our society. And it's like, what if you were in their situation? What if you would have gone through the shit they had gone through? What if you walk a mile in their shoes and understand what the fuck's going on? What if there's just, they don't have the mental capacity, and all they need is some sort of counseling or help or guidance, because that's really all they were lacking, you know what I'm saying? But no, instead it's, let's spend money on enforcing rules to stop them from being who they are, whenever there's probably multiple reasons why they're in that situation. It's not like if you ask somebody like, hey, how long you been out here homeless or whatever, you know, they might have only been out there for a month, or they might be out there for 10, 20 years. And it's like, well, are these people trying to get back on their feet, or do they know how? Or do they have the capacity to do it? Do they have the means to do it? Do they have the support structure to do it? And a lot of times all those answers are no, or they try to get help and they feel like cynical or jaded or helpless, because some of them have tried to get help and didn't get the help they really crucially needed at a specific time, and now look where they're at. And it costs government and people, and the government don't pay shit. It's taxpayers paying for this. And then you see stories of taxpayers like on news or whatever, like getting interviewed, and they're like, oh, they're just, you know, they're bringing our houses, the cost of our houses down, and our businesses are losing money. And it's like, right, well, I understand you can't help all of the homeless people, but maybe instead of calling the cops on them, give them a cup of coffee and don't call the cops on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, help them a little bit. What's that?
They have a right
10 cents worth of coffee gonna really do? Maybe warm someone up a little bit when it's chilly out, and, you know, make someone respect you as a human being, instead of, oh fuck, here come the cops again, these fucking business owners hate me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, no shit. That
was one feeling that I had when I was homeless, is, and if anyone has ever been homeless, I'm sure you could relate, but that feeling of all these people around me feel that I don't have a right to exist.
Like you're abandoned by a society or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was made homeless. Like I called for help. I did the right things. I keep on doing these right things, and I still get punishment, which is very confusing for me. Like I saved my grandmother's life. You know, that second time I went to jail right before the end of 2012, I saved her life. But then I opted out of a blood test, which I had no idea I would be punished for, and then they threw me in jail right after saving this person's life. But the whole case is about, and it's like, I even had a shitty reaction at first. I was like, I knew something was wrong, and I was like, you know what, fuck this bitch, you know. And I had that shitty reaction. But then after, a few moments of pondering, I had come to a different conclusion instead of that shitty one. And I was like, you know what, I should check up on them, because this person has been manipulated. As upsetting as the whole situation is, it was other people like my mother and the cops, kind of just, manipulating this old woman to fuck me for whatever reason. I rubbed them the wrong way. You know, my mom's always kind of been a bitch. And anyway, but yeah, and then I don't know. I just think I go about things the right way. I definitely am an out of the box thinker, and I'm not typical in the actions that I do. But like I gave these people at the Voodoo Leatherworks like a fair, like, hey, I got a story to tell, you know, and how you write the chapters about this story is up to you. So they're like, yes, let's make it the worst possible chapter of abuse, you know, possible. You know, it's like, what were you thinking? I came to you all open and everything, and you done fucked up, son. You know?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times I'm kind of negative about a lot of shit because of the way that the world is, but I feel like in a lot of situations, I'm not trying to make an issue out of a lot of things. I'm trying to make someone aware of something. But in this situation, I feel like, in a lot of situations like this, that people, I think he dug in, realized what he had done, and said, oh fuck, I gotta double down, because if I don't, then I look like a fucking liar and a fraud. And that's literally the only fucking way out. You know what I'm saying? Is to fucking defame someone, or to completely fucking blindside and attack someone, you know, and play the victim, because there's no real reason that anybody would be doing anything like this. And I can't see a benefit of doing this to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see,
I hurt his ego.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I can see, like, someone's coming to you and be like, did you say this? And you're like, well, yeah, I said it, but I said it like this, not like what they're trying to tell you. And then, you know, actually get the real, like, okay, so you got two people telling you a story. Both of them are probably not 100% true, but they could both be what that person believes, because from their perspective, that's what happened. The actual truth is somewhere in the middle. It may be closer to one or the other, but it's always somewhere in the middle, because, you know, truth or reality isn't, you know, it's a mix of all these different things, and we only perceive it how we want to. So if we come at a situation and go, well, let's look at this critically, and let's see it from both angles, or more than that angle, or look at it from my own perspective and make my own opinion about it, there's always a separation from perspective to perspective. Like, the way I see something, someone else might not even catch a certain thing. Like when I told my friends, hey, this is why I stopped hanging out with you, and they were just like, oh, we thought it was something totally different. You know what I mean? It's like, well, because you weren't in the headspace that I was in, you weren't dealing with the shit I was dealing with, so you just didn't really think about it or notice. But now that you know, I'm sure you can understand that. Well, that doesn't normally happen with most people. Most people don't get that chance to explain or be explained to what the fuck is really going on, you know?
Okay, so that brings me to a point of, like, my neighbors. I have a neighbor. She's like mentally ill, like not the one that I'm hanging out with, but like my literal next door neighbor right next to me. And I hear her screaming and arguing with herself, and at times throwing shit in her place. And I never really complain about it. I mentioned it to my landlord, but I'm like, look, this is specifically not a complaint, but just like this chick does this stuff, you know, and it's like off her meds, and I don't want to call the cops because I don't want to bring someone with a gun over, you know, and it would be nice if you guys had a social worker. It was like an email that I sent to the landlord that I never got a reply to, which happens very often. But anyway, like her son lives with her, and just temporarily. And I had ordered some stuff where I was going to remake my little cyber goth glove invention for dancing and everything. So I ordered out these supplies, and the package was put in front of my door, and it's a very light package, and it blew in front of her door, and she had ended up taking it. And her son occasionally hangs out with me because he needs a break. He's like, man, I'm being driven insane. I fucking got it, you know. And I'm like, all right, you could come chill with me, listen to some music. He mentioned that, you know, it eventually was discovered that, like, she took my package. And he was like, man, you know, why would she do that? You know, like it's like, you know, he was like coming at it. Oh man, I can't even remember how he said it, but it was like something more nefarious, you know, than I had suggested. I'm like, well, here, how about this? You know, like, I think the package just like flew in front of her door, or maybe the delivery driver went to the wrong address, you know, and she mindlessly accepted it without even looking at the fucking name on the package.
Right.
And that's that, you know, and then there's nothing more than that. And I'm not going to call the landlord about it. Dig up, it was $10 fucking, not even, it was like $8.97 or some shit like that. Like, it's like, but it'd just be nice, you know, like if she could return it, you know, and it took days to return it too when I like had brought it up to them. And I had just got done ordering another one. And these are just LED lights. These are just LED lights that I'm trying to get. And so I just ordered out another one from the same supplier. And then like 5 minutes later, she like drops off the original package. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to try to cancel this order now. So I go to eBay and I like try to cancel the order, but they're like, you know, once the information is sent, you know, to the processing facility, you know, we can't change anything. And it's because they're using Amazon Prime to fill the fucking shit. I have 2 Amazon Prime packages, you know, of my LEDs. I should have maybe looked at the packaging a little closer and made that observation that was just staring me in the face, but I didn't until after I made the second order. But I'm ordering from eBay specifically so I don't have some Amazon driver that's underpaid and underappreciated and needing to feeling the need to piss in bottles because there's that pressure that is drilled into every fucking Amazon employee, you know, with time, and you got to be productive. And if you slip up once, you know, this is why you got to, you know, wear diapers and piss yourself, okay? You know, and I do that just so I don't have to order from Amazon. And then I fucking order something from eBay and then they fulfill it through Amazon. It's like, fuck you. Like, I don't want an Amazon driver fucking coming to my place. Like, I'm giving this person a shitty review when I'm able. I think I'm able to now, but there's like a 7-day, like once you receive the product, you gotta wait 7 days to be able to review it or some shit on eBay.
They probably want you to like use the product so you're not like immediately like, this is shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Let give some time for the dust to settle, you know, some shit like that, I'm sure. You know, but I don't know if that's like breaking some sort of eBay policy too, because like I'm trying to avoid Amazon, and when I order from eBay and I get Amazon, that really pisses the fuck out of me.
Well, that happens all the time. Same with Walmart. They have an affiliate type sales program, and you can go on there and sell your own products, but you can also just sell Amazon products on the Walmart site, so that's kind of a problem all over the place. So you really have to watch out. Yeah, look like who the actual seller is or who they're distributing it through, and a lot of times you can't even tell. Like I've ordered stuff, and I've ordered a thing thinking it was going to show up in an Amazon truck, and it shows up UPS or FedEx, and it's like, it's supposed to be an Amazon Prime thing, but they through another, or the opposite, or it says it was, you know, UPS and then a Prime truck or a van pulls up. It's like, wait, what?
Well, it was going to be an Amazon Prime truck, but then the employee, after, you know, peeing and defecating in bottles and bags so long, had a stroke that day, and so the slack had to be picked up by these other drivers, and so the order got like transferred to one of that. That's just one of my suspicions.
Yeah, speaking of the Amazon shit, the shit that just went down where basically the managers said, y'all can't leave or whatnot. Holy fuck.
Oh, and then the building collapsed on them?
Yeah, now their families are all suing the facility and the managers, the management, and Amazon themselves.
They better
My first thought was, firstly, a ton of people are going to be fucked out of a lot of shit because that whole two whole structures collapsed, and so people are fucked for the next couple weeks at least. And then secondly, why the fuck when there's when I worked at a certain place that in town here, it was like, if we ever have a day where there's 70-mile-an-hour winds, everybody's going home, or just don't even show up. Just call in. We'll tell you whether, we'll tell you that you don't need to show up. But if there's ever a warning for 70-plus-mile-an-hour winds, don't show up, because the building itself is not structurally sound enough to withstand that. It's not hurricane proof or something like that. And so when hey, this storm, we're having 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds, maybe we should send everyone home, because if the shit picks up, everyone's dead. And then what happens? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you got to stay here and fucking put in the hours, because if not, we're going to fire you. Well, I heard that like 8 or 12 people said, fuck this, I'm going home. Fuck you. You can fire me then. Those people are smart. You know what I mean? Fuck, your job doesn't mean enough to kill you over. Oh, you're going to be late. If you leave now, you're going to be 10 minutes late to work. But if you speed, you can be like a minute or two late. Well, you're going to be late, so you might as well just fucking relax and get there safely. You know what I'm saying? Your job is definitely not worth... Oh, yeah, definitely, for the management and whatever.
And I know they're going to do that. Well, they could have left, but we told them that we would, they would be punished.
Right, but
they left.
Well, what my main point is, a lot of those people don't have a choice. Well, if I don't fucking work these next 4 hours, I'm not going to make rent, and we're going to be out on our ass, and I got kids to feed, and I got shit to take care of, so they just literally can't do that. So when their manager says, well, you're fired, what are they going to fucking do for the next 2 weeks or whatever? Once they get their last check, they're fucked. So a lot of people, don't have an extra, couple months of bills money saved back up. So, if they get kicked out on their ass, they're going to lose fucking everything, So they're like, oh, well, I guess I got to fucking stay. Well, there's some people that have that little bubble and doesn't quite matter, so they can actually just walk the fuck out. And I know I said those are the smart people. Those are the people who have the best advantage of, being capable of walking out, obviously. And I kind of did.
To be fair, some of them probably were in that situation, but they were brave enough to be like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not dying for this shit. And some of them probably do live paycheck to paycheck, and missing out on a few hours of work is really going to fucking hurt. That's assuming that, like, what you were saying is assuming all those people, were in a better position. Maybe some of them aren't, though, is the thing.
I'm saying.
I think there should be criminal charges. Like, they want to hold a gun to the fucking employee's head and say, oh, well, you live in such destitute, you're forced to be here, we could treat you like shit. And then you're going to keep them there and then do that security bullshit and not pay them for it, as they stand in line for like a fucking hour to just try to get home, and you're not going to pay them for that. It is so abusive, like the way that the laws are written, and I just think there should be criminal charges. Any of those upper management, that had a hand in keeping people there, go fuck yourself. And even higher management that, like, the district managers that were like, no, keep operations going. They should have some criminal charges, pressed against them too for making these decisions that led to these people dying.
Yeah, and nobody should ever be put in a position to, oh, well, you're gonna lose your job, or you could die, but if you retreat to safety, you're gonna get fired. So the situation is either you stay at work and the building crumbles and everyone dies, or you go home to where relative safety is, or you risk being out in the weather. Nobody should be have to choose between that dichotomy. Everybody should be safe or feel safe at work, regardless of if they work in big huge factory where they got molten metal, or they just fucking make pizzas or fucking work at a gas station. Everybody should have some relative safety. I mean, obviously, like if they work at a convenience store, they got to worry about getting robbed. But I'm saying, like, you're not going to be physically harmed by your environment, you know?
Yeah.
But a lot of times, you know, especially like factory work and probably warehousing too, I'm sure it's very similar because they got fork truck traffic and big shelves full of fucking stacked up shit that could fall and collapse on you. And so you're already on edge. Any type of work environment where you got to wear steel toes and hard hats and shit like that, you should be getting hazard pay. And in those type of warehouses, like the distribution warehouses or whatnot, they should be getting hazard pay too, because like exactly what happened. The wind gets up a little bit and the whole fucking facility fucking collapses. So
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't. I know it was tornadoes and shit, but also, what about the another point? What about the warning system? They were like, well, they heard the warning when the warning happened, like the tornado sirens. That's when a lot of people were like, you know what, fuck this shit. Tornadoes are coming. This place is a fucking like a giant trailer, and we all know what happens to trailers when fucking tornadoes come around. It's just a big fucking metal siding building, you know, like just basically a tin roof, and there's really nothing to it structurally except for giant flaps of metal that are just gonna fall on you, and big shelves stacked full of shit that could collapse on you. So for the people that got out, Jesus Christ, they were lucky. But when they were put in that situation specifically, right then, that's when they were forced to make that choice. Their job made their environment much more unsafe than just all those physical things. You know what I'm saying? Like it destabilizes their job, and it makes
kidnapping.
What's that?
Kidnapping should be looked into, because
you
put people in a situation where they could lose their job, which is an affirmative defense of emotional distress. And so they're emotionally distressed. They got this serious real life situation with a tornado bearing down on them. And I'm sure they had many warnings is the thing. Like they was probably like, you know, hours beforehand.
All day long weather reports. Yeah. And then when it's like, oh, there's a tornado. What is it? A warning or a watch? I can't remember. Tornado watch, I think. Tornado watch. Oh, now it's a tornado warning. Oh, well, it's a tornado warning. I got to get the fuck out of here. Well, it's too late now, you know? So, but
all these Amazon fucking facilities need to fucking have a shelter, and there needs to be procedure next time there's a fucking storm. You're shutting operations down, or you're going to get the shit suit out of you.
Yeah, with hazard pay and whatnot.
Some criminal charges. Yeah, like something to protect the people. God damn it.
Yeah, and it's terrifying, because we really honestly do need those type of facilities now, because like especially because of the COVID situation, and a lot of people are, you know, incapable of going out and getting the shit on their own because of either disabilities or whatever, you know, or just lack of transport or just whatever.
And,
the timing on that, it's like, so most of those warning systems you get about a half hour, but all day long there was weather reports. Oh, we got a low pressure, blah blah blah, we got these high winds are gonna come at such and such a time. They basically just ignored all those warnings and left it up to profit. Oh, well, if we let these people go home, that's cutting into our profit. Yeah, but what if this is the one time when a tornado actually does come and just fucking tears everything down and levels everything? And then it does happen, and then they're like, oh, well, we were just doing what a company does. It's like, yeah, but there should be some repercussions against that. And the company doesn't run itself. The company is ran by the people in charge, so they should be definitely at least there should be some investigation.
They do love to separate that, though. They're like, look, it was the corporation's fault. You know, there was no human being involved. You know, it was this entity, this other being, this corporation that did it. It wasn't. No person is responsible. It's like, man, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. Like,
yeah, because every situation that happens like this was a human was involved in that decision, and lives were fucking put in danger and even lost, and that's fucking not acceptable. Especially you're a shipping facility. Oh, someone's not gonna get their fucking Victoria's Secret bra
package
or something, whatever package, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, the kids,
they're not going to get their new sex toy.
The little kid's not gonna get his fucking PlayStation 5 or whatever. Oh, boo-hoo. It's probably insured or whatnot. But those people's lives may be insured, but that doesn't mean shit when the life is, you know, extinguished. You know what I'm saying? Because how many people that affects. Like the family.
That's what the executives think. You know, they're like, yeah, well, you're just numbers and everything. We got insurance, whatever. Fuck it. You know, we even got insurance for lawsuits. So fuck it. You know, we could get sued, you know, and then it's going to be this insurance company paying it out. You know, and it's so fucking, it's so separated from responsibility. It's really fucking rubs me the wrong way how everything is kind of structured. And to think that, like, everybody, a lot of people just accept it. They're like, yeah, you know, that's just the way things are. You know, America, we're great, right? You know, and it's like, I mean, maybe we get some things right, but I don't know if we get most things right.
Yeah, well, when you're told so often for so long that you're great, you begin to believe it. It's like my mom used to tell me, she was adopted, and her adopted mom was a fucking cunt. I hated her. I couldn't stand her. She's like the fucking person on the planet. And I understand. That's why I could relate to why my mom was so abusive. I kind of got where it was coming from. I just didn't want to end up like her. But anyway, my point is, I had a really good point. Shit. Now I'm having that stoner moment.
It's all right.
So, fuck, damn it. So, fuck, what were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Your mother was adopted, and her mother was abusive, and that's where she got it from.
I know, but right before that, I had a point that actually went into some other shit.
Son of a bitch. Damn it.
Well, okay.
Something to do with Amazon, though, like the right?
Oh yeah. Okay, that's it. She told me, man, I'm gonna have to cut out a bunch out of this episode. So anyway, well, not a bunch, but just a long chunk. My mom told me that she would literally call her retard growing up. She would, you know, you're such a retard. Can you do anything right? You're such a retard. You know, and then she would tell her friends, her adoptive mom would tell her friends that I can't believe she's so this way. She must be retarded, you know, and she would hear that so often. She just started to believe it. So, you know, she just thought she was, you know, mentally incapable of doing things. And that, I think that is a lot of reasons why she has a lot of mental illness, is because having been told that for so long that it literally became a part of her, you know what I'm saying? And so
yeah, just like the American exceptionalism, you know, like right. That's the actual thing you were trying to connect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That we just get told, and it gets embedded into our mind that we are a certain way and we are who we are because we're told that's just the way it is and that's the way it's always going to be, or you know, or we're great. Oh, well, we must be great. Yeah, but what the fuck have we done to be great? You know what I'm saying? So, and most people aren't.
Yeah,
think about it. You know, they're just gonna just go with it because it's easier to go with it and then go, what the fuck? That doesn't add up. You know.
That's like I don't know why my brain thought of it, but like jumping back to that the abusive douchebag of that owns the sex club. Fucking, you know, he talks about his military service, that he's a vet and everything, and it's like, man, like, you know, we claim to be the bravest, and then you're fucking like looking at my goth ass like I'm gonna fucking, you know, he's like literally suggested that I would use a gun. And just so everyone knows, I've never ever held or touched or fired a gun ever in my life, except one time when I was like 12 or 13 years old, and my grandfather was showing me this Nazi Luger that he got off of someone that he killed in World War II. With that being the only exception, and I felt really uncomfortable holding it and cocking that thing back, and having it snap forward was really scary. There was no bullets in it or anything, but it was like some of the scariest shit. And I almost myself, like after 9/11, like I was emotional, and there was that kind of, America was emotional, and there was a lot of people that jumped on the joining the military, and it was really hard for me not to do that. Like I wanted to, but you know, I'm not really a violent person. That doesn't, like me joining the military to maybe possibly, you know, have to defend myself with bullets doesn't sound that appealing to me. And even back then, it's just like what? And I really do consider myself a different type of soldier, and I didn't take that easy path and, you know, fucking just do what I'm told and mindlessly do all this stuff. And I'm sure there's good people. There's definitely good people like in the military that you know, they have a hard time making ends meet, so they get drawn in by the benefits and the free education, because we charge, you know, so much in America with student loans. But like his ass being in the military makes me think, no wonder there's so many innocent, you know, casualties in these wars, because he's so fucking scared of everything. He just shoots at it and fucking murders it, and then doesn't even fucking think. And then he gets all this fucking, you know, bullshit like valor or whatever, however the fuck you say, but like, oh man, you're a military person, I want to suck your dick, you know. And it's like, yeah, but you know, he was probably in the military fucking acting like a little cowardly bitch the whole fucking time. Like he is, like he sounds like, you know, to me, like at Mediation, he's like, and he brought up his military fucking thing just to, like, hey, I'm a military vet, I'm an upstanding citizen, you know. This guy doesn't serve his country, never has. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to run for president and serve my country in a non-violent way. How about that, bitch? Right. You know, and you know, like, anyway,
well,
so
I'm gonna add to that, because I know a few people, one specifically, a guy that shares my name. We worked together, and we were actually really close. We became real good friends. I hung out at his house all the time. We'd watch, well, he was really into Sopranos, and I was just there to fucking relax after work. But we'd sit and watch Sopranos and mostly just talk over it. He would rewatch it over and over and over. But he was like, man, what you think about this war, man? I think I'm gonna go. I've looked into it, and he was like, I'm not gonna get into the army or military shit. I'm gonna be a contractor, and I'm gonna go over there and fucking make tons of money. Dude, he went over there, and going from a delivery driver who makes about 35 grand a year, he made fucking like 150 grand a year being a contractor. And he was basically just a support guy carrying around a fucking M16 or whatever.
He gets to play military and gets paid more.
Yeah. Like, and it's like, why aren't our military getting paid decent money and actually doing like real things? You know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, all the shit that I've done is like help build bridges and dig wells and fucking move people from, you know, war zone situations to lesser or, you know, more safe zones and shit like that. It's like, isn't that what the military's supposed to be doing? No, they're out fucking shooting at each other and bombing fucking
They're defending our
schools
freedom.
and fucking
Yeah.
hospitals and drone striking fucking families and funerals and fucking playgrounds and shit. It's like, wow, that's crazy.
We definitely need to have some sort of reparations for that. Like, if we continue these like military operations, like drone striking people, and oh, whoops, like 20 of them were innocent, but there's this one that might not have been innocent. So, like we gotta fucking financially compensate in the very least those people that we done blew up, or their next of kin. You know, like figure this shit out, and then we'll maybe think, you know, if that was codified in like law or policy, then
I always thought
maybe
that was.
future leaders would think twice about blowing up like a hospital or, you know, some school, and just, you know, saying that oh, well, there's terrorists inside, so all these innocent people had to die to get that one bad guy. You know, just like how it's done in America, right? You know, there's one bad person in an apartment building, so we blow the whole fucking thing up and say, well, there was that one bad guy, right?
Well, we got the bad guy. It's like, yeah, but you killed 200 innocent people in the meantime. Like, what the fuck? Yeah.
That people don't even think about this shit. It's like, what if that shit happened in America? Like what if they blew up a fucking building, you know, and they claimed, oh, well, there was those bad drug dealers over there, and, you know, they had fentanyl and they were making all these people sick and everything, and so we had to get them. And it's like, yeah, at the cost of what though? You know, and what do we do in America? The law enforcement schedules raids and shit, and they go in there all brave and everything, like our troops should be doing all that brave shit and getting, you know, up close and personal instead of fucking clicking a button, you know, hundreds or thousands of miles away.
Yeah, I always thought about that. Like, whenever in movies they're like, people see like army rolling in and it's like the town gets all freaking weirded out. It's like, I would feel safe if the army rolls in and they go to a specific spot to deal with something, because that means, firstly, the cops aren't doing it. They're going to go in guns blazing. The military usually has a much better strategy, even though, yes, they do drone strikes and shit like that. For the most part, I think on our homeland, they're going to not do that type of shit. But anymore, I'm getting to a point where I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
I'm not 100% sure that wouldn't happen now, but you would like to think, you know, okay, what my point is like in a movie, you see everybody like, why is the military here? They're like doing a little town hall or something, and it's like, okay, calm down, they're here to deal with this specific threat, and then they'll be gone. And then but in like, you would think it would be the opposite. It'd be like, what are they here to help us with? You know what I mean? Because isn't that what the fucking military is for? Is either to stop a threat or to be sent in, like, when, like, for disaster relief or whatnot like that. So you would think that would be a good thing, but anymore it's to a point where you see like tons of military vehicles and shit like that, and it's like, what are they training for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that we yeah, but who's the real enemy? You know what I'm saying? Like, all these governments, they're not gonna attack us. We all got nukes and all that shit. Shit ain't gonna go down like most people think, because if that does go down, it's literally world ending. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to fight for once the nukes start flying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
So those are all just a fucking gun in your back pocket, but it's empty. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to use, but if that's your threat, yeah.
There's going to be a few elites that escape that apocalypse, though. They're going to be out on their yachts in the water, and the ocean isn't going to be nuked. Like,
right,
it's going to be a waste of a nuke. And there's going to be some shelter bullshit.
Yeah, but who's gonna do all the work to make their lifestyle the way that it is, or keep it that way? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have shit's gonna get real primitive real fast in that situation, you know. I was just saying, for the average person that's, you know, everyday man, even just businessmen in general that don't have an island to escape to, there's a lot of population that, you know, don't. Okay. Oh, here's another point. Sorry to jump across, but it's
you're all good.
Government is made up of people. They do the things that they think is right for the people, for the citizens, right? Then the citizens react.
That's what's sold to us.
I mean, that's what they're, you know, yeah, that's their label or whatever. Then the citizens react in a way. It's like, hey, this shit ain't no good. We need help or relief, or we need some kind of social programs. And then those governments continue to do the same shit, are fascistic and all this other shit. And it's like, people don't think about, if we band together as we're just people and they're just people, we have to change their mind somehow. If we outnumber them by hella. There's no like actual statistic, because from country to country, county to county, fucking whatever, state to state, there's a different amount of government per capita or whatever. So there's no actual real number behind that. But it's such a great number. Like, imagine the city you're in and how many politicians work in that city. You know what I'm saying? If you could organize enough people at, you know, it wouldn't even have to be all at once. You could just do it from day to day, but you'd have to do it all over and organize enough people to go after these people. You wouldn't have to do it violently, but if 1,000 people surround someone's job, or 10,000 people surround someone's, you know, workplace, like the courthouse or wherever, you know, government building they work at,
good protest.
Like say a corrupt judge or racist judge or something, you know what I mean? Like, if they all went out there and, you know, confronted these people, maybe not actually get them fired from their job, but get them to see the perspective of, oh fuck, I represent all these people and I have to do a better job at what I'm doing. Yeah. So I don't think a lot of people realize that that's the power we have. Oh, nothing can be done. No, actually shit can be done. But when protests and things are organized to do things, you don't show up because you think that shit can't be done. And then nothing happens because 20 people show up and everybody's like, that's a fucking joke. They got a megaphone and a fucking, and 20 people.
It's not always about the numbers. It's about the effectiveness. There's some lessons that can be learned with me protesting Voodoo Leatherworks. I'm just one fucking asshole. Came out of nowhere, you know, and I'm able to expose this person. He's probably super duper upset that he paints a certain picture of himself and that I exposed him, you know, and that's very upsetting to him. And he's like, well, who the fuck is this guy? You know, it's like, yeah, I'm the dude that's being abused by you right now, bitch. And you fucking claim to care about fucking, you know, sexual assault, you know, abuse and everything. But, you know, if it doesn't involve the genitalia, then I guess it's all fair to commit this bullshit on me.
When I said you, I meant the average Joe.
Well,
I didn't mean specifically you, because you're definitely out there doing what the average Joe isn't. Now imagine if everybody that had been fucked over by them or someone similar or in that situation had a place to meet up once a month or whenever or wherever or however, even if it was online or something, so they could all voice their opinions at the same time or together, so that those people can become aware that, you know, there's some sort of movement against them, or that, you know, that they need to step up and do what's right, you know, because otherwise people just don't do that. What's that?
There supposedly is somebody that reached out to me at this one other kind of unofficial sex club that Voodoo went after a year or 2 or 3 ago. I forget exactly, but he's very elusive, and I don't know if this is some bullshit dude, fucking like actually like involved and on the side of Voodoo Leatherworks, and he's just trying to fish for information or some shit. But he says he's supposedly on my side, but he can never fucking meet, which is really suspicious for me. He's like, I work 16-hour days. And it's like, yeah, well, you can't make one fucking day to hang out for 1 fucking hour.
You don't work 24 hours a day. What about 10 minutes somewhere?
Yeah, something like that I could like to, because it's really easy to jerk people off online. I've been noticing. I mean, it's a dead giveaway. Like I get all these brand new accounts fucking messaging me on FetLife and everything, and it's like, or what it seems to me at times is there's these groups that you could go in, and you could post in these like little groups. And there was one, because they know that I'm a hippie, and there was one in the Colorado Springs 420 fucking like meetup the other day, and I just had a weird feeling about it. And it was like, yeah, we're a couple looking to just, smoke some weed and get to know somebody, and we want to go up in the mountains and just hang out, and it's like, man, my trust, like, I love nature and everything, but my trust, like, my shot trust levels or whatever, my untrust levels, I just don't trust that shit. We'll go up into the mountains with some people I never fucking met before on a brand new fucking account. You think I'm stupid?
Yeah, that's
it could have been just some normal post too. Maybe I'm being a little too paranoid as well, but I gotta be, because like
in any day of age, you have to be aware of that, because there are predators and
oh, dude, I'm making fun of their sex club. Dude, the people are going to get way more emotional than just the typical, like, I don't know if attack is the right word, but, I guess, I kind of consider it just a defense. I'm just defending myself from all this bullshit, but you could say that I play a strong offense too, I guess, as a defense. But yeah, like, so nobody fucking messages me ever. Anytime I made a few accounts and deleted them after I like lose all hope. So I've been here for quite some time, and I haven't ever really changed who I am and how I go about things. And so like nobody ever fucking messages me ever. So anybody messaging me, is immediately suspect. And that's kind of the sad, level that I fucking operate under, is it my family? And now I got to worry, like, oh, my family has been fucking with me since they fucked me in 2013. And now I got these new people. So it's like, I doubt it's my family, but I'm sure they'll jump in once they fucking, maybe they've taken a month off or something like that from harassing me, but they'll be back and they'll join in too.
Yeah, that's
no doubt.
That kind of sucks, because it really it's really hard, especially on, not saying that you're a loner or a rebel, but you're just you're kind of out there on an island by yourself, and
I am a loner and a rebel, I guess.
A really tough situation. Well,
yeah, everybody's going to hate me. Everybody's going to come at me sideways. I already predict this. Like, just those little 2 responses that I've collected so far from people not giving a fuck about the abuse upon me is just the tip of the iceberg. And to kind of counter that, like I've been saying a lot, that I'm able to feed off of people's hatred, and because that's all I've gotten for so long from so much. So I kind of have to, in order to thrive. And how I'm going to do this is I'm going to collect all these responses, and I'm going to make, I was thinking like a Magic the Gathering kind of game, but use their image instead and print it up and laminate it and collect them all, and I could fucking, think of creative ways to use it, just to kind of have fun, to turn their hatred into my motherfucking rainbows.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would. That's a good strategy, and I wouldn't call you a specific loner, maybe a rebel in a lot of ways, but not really a loner, because the way that your humanitarian efforts seem to be a lot more than most people are willing to do. You know what I mean? I'll give a ride to a stranger, but I'm not going to let them take a shower at my house. You know what I'm saying? So you've gone many layers or levels beyond what most people would do.
But it makes me uncomfortable, though. Like, I have some sort of level, I think, of bravery when I do these things. I don't know these people. I don't know if they're going to attack me. There was that one couple that was really, like, freaked me out, you know, and I'm like, yeah, you guys got to go. And I'm, like, standing right by the door because I'm like, man, this is too shady.
I would say for your safety, maybe not help out couples in general, because that's a situation that you can get in where you can be overpowered, you know, and some shit could go down, and you don't want that to go down. I understand the thought and the mentality behind it, because everybody deserves help, but you got to protect yourself in a lot of ways. And also, I would suspect that someone on their own is probably struggling a little more than a team of two people that can work together to get what they need to get by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that you should never help anybody out or whatever, but I'm just saying you gotta be careful of those situations.
Well, I don't want to be,
because that ends up being a fucking like Lifetime story, or one of those shows that my girlfriend watches on fucking whatever.
I don't want to be that
ID
person.
channel.
Like, my grandmother lived in fear. Like, she watched all those fucking, like, you know, crime drama shows and all that shit, and she was just so scared to fucking, like, even leave her house, you know. And it's like, Grandma, come on, you used to go on walks, like, you know, like a decade ago. Why can't you do that now, you know? And it's like, I'm scared someone might rape me. You know, it's like, Grandma, come on, get the fuck out, enjoy the outdoors. You know, now someone's going to do something bad to me. You know, I watch all those damn shows that make me scared shitless. And it's like, and I think maybe that's why I come to these, you know, these risks that I take. But I enjoy helping people out, and I understand there's an inherent risk, and I don't want to be one of those cowardly little bitches that are like, I'm too scared. You know, but I do watch out for myself.
I was saying in that specific situation, it's easier to get. It's one thing if you say something, like you invite a guest over and you say something they don't like and they get kind of belligerent or whatever, you can kick them out. But when there's two people, it gets a little bit tougher. You know what I mean? Twice as.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I'm not a fighter. I could be overpowered so easily. I could probably be overpowered by most women. You know, is the sad truth. Yeah.
Well, regardless of that,
I would say though.
So even in
okay.
that situation, what I'm saying is, you're more valuable as an asset to the world if you can continue on and get these stories out and get, you know, some kind of backing, especially toward, you know, running toward for president, regardless of whether that may be a pipe dream in the end, or if it's just, you know, your motivation to help your fellow human out, or if it really comes to fruition. Regardless of all that, that mentality, it needs to be. I'm sorry. It's a part of you. You know what I'm saying? And you just can't just not be who you are.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, like I've been wrestling with the thought for quite some time. Not every day, but I've had this thought for when I used to watch The Vanguard a few months ago. So at least back in September, I've been kind of distracted with all this other stuff. But like, I was thinking, like, I could donate an organ to, like, prove how serious I am about helping other people. That does come with its inherent risk, though, and, you know, if I undergo surgery and I end up dying, then a greater good may not have been realized because of that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm overthinking, you know, that stuff. I'll still do it. You know, I could help a life out. You know, someone might need a kidney of mine or something.
Well,
maybe not a lung. I need both my lungs, all right?
Hold on to that, because you never know when that's a possibility. There was a guy when I was a child up until my middle teenage years. He was a police officer well into my 30s, But he used to give me shit when I was a child because he was considered, where I live, we had this little neutral officer that kind of patrolled the neighborhood, and so on his off time he would drive around in like an unmarked vehicle, and we felt like he was harassing us because we were always, around in the neighborhood. Me and my friends were always on bikes. We were half the time up to no good. This motherfucker I felt like he was up my ass all the time. Like, I saw this motherfucker 5 days a week, and that's the type of person like I should hardly ever see, let alone interact with. And he got to a point where, man, I really fucking hate this guy. Well, fast forward 10 years, 15 years, I got my not my DUI. Oh no, okay, so I was delivery driving, and it just started raining, so everything was wet out. It's kind of slick, and I start to turn, and over the hill comes a sheriff going 60 miles an hour in a 30. His lights were on, but he just came up over the hill, and I was like, oh shit, if I don't fucking gun it, I'm gonna get rear-ended. So I gunned it, and then I slowed down, and he pulled me over. And I was just like, okay, and then he asked, okay, so check this out. He pulled me over. He's like, why did you do that? I said, well, because I started the turn and it was too late to dodge you, so the only way to get out of the way was to gun it and then to, gradually slow back down, or I would have got whiplash and you'd have got fucked. And it was like, well, it's too slick for conditions. I was like, I didn't even see you. So he's like, whatever, give me your license and blah, blah, blah. I think he was going to just, I think he was just going to, write me a warning for pulling out, which is bullshit. But he saw my name, misinterpreted it, wrote, put it into the computer wrong, and then came back, was like, you got warrants, you're under arrest, da, 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 da. I go downtown, and the guy I was talking about earlier, he was like, what the fuck, why you got him here? Because he had looked at the paperwork, and he knew me growing up, so he knew my name by heart. And they were like, oh, well, because he's so-and-so, and he was like, that's not him. And I've been trying to tell this cop this whole fucking time, that's not me. There's no S on my name there. I'm not this guy. And then, the cop that basically harassed me as a child defended me and was like, no, you gotta let him go. You gotta drop him back off. You're not gonna fucking give him a bus token and make him go. You fucked his day up. You gotta make it right. You know what I'm saying? So I realized,
that was nice,
I realized later as an adult, he wasn't out there trying to attack us. He was out there trying to protect us. So fast forward 10 more years. Fast forward 10 more years. My daughter is a match for him for a kidney.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So, not that went through because they were searching around for other people at the same time. People who were, more closely related to him or whatnot. But she was a very close match, and he died before the operation had happened. But before they even had it scheduled. So that sucks. But like, she was willing to step up at like 17 and do that. And her mom was like, no, you can't do this. You can't. She's like, I'm going to do it if I want. And
that childlike, innocence that like your 17-year-old daughter probably may not have that thought at like 30 or 40, depending on the paths of life she takes, people that she, interacts with, but just to have that thought at 17, like you guys are awesome parents, and she's an awesome person for even just having that thought. Like,
yeah, and
that's so cool.
It's definitely scary. She was very outgoing. Like, she got the chance to go to DC at a very young age, but her mom told her no, that I don't think it's safe, and I wanted her to go, but her mom kind of had the final say. So it's kind of, if we don't agree, it's a no. You know what I'm saying? So, but she got to go later on and probably had a better experience because she was like a few years older, whatnot. So
yeah,
she's a very outgoing, generous person. She's the type of person that'll, if her friend's struggling, she'll put herself out to make sure her friend's at least on her level. You know what I'm saying? So And that sometimes is not great to a fault. She's had a lot of people take advantage of her, but at the same time, that helped her realize that we're out there like that. She's got to protect herself.
I wish I was like that when I was your daughter's age. You know, like, I was so abused at that time. Like, I was very shy and timid and, like, you know, just traumatized from all this bullshit.
Me too.
And being outgoing and everything, like being outspoken and outgoing like I am now, it's just like something that wasn't happening for me back then. Like even standing up for myself, you know, I'd get beat up a lot, you know, and so
it kind
so
of goes,
yeah, you know, I kind of wish I had that when I was younger.
yeah, it goes back to when you're young, being told and witnessing so often that you're never going to make it, you're never going to get out, you're never going to be any better, you're never going to do this or that. And it's like, once you get to be an adult, or you have that adult mentality, you can, you know, think on your own and go, what the fuck? What's holding me back? The only thing holding me back is everybody saying that I couldn't. And all I got to really do is put in the effort. If you're consistent and stay focused with that motivation, you're gonna get shit done. You may not get your final goal. Like, think about how many politicians have thought about becoming president that happened. We've had, what, 45, 46? But I'm sure there's been hundreds, or probably at least hundreds, that have, you know, maybe even thousands that have tried to, you know, go run for it and then, you know, end up never getting there. Well, that's not to say that they didn't improve the world in some way. I mean, a lot of them probably fucking fucked the world up in a lot of ways, but the ones that were good at their job and did the things that they needed to do, you know, made some sort of impact, whether they were actually president or not, you know. And
well, I think Marianne Williamson, that one chick, you know, she was very positive, and I'm sure that she made an impact on people's lives, even though she wasn't successful with her goal. But I really like that chick.
I'm not sure. Is that
was
that one from the Green Party? Is that a recent one?
She was kind of like the super hippie. Probably because, you know, like, you know, she's the hot mama is probably why I thought so highly of her. But yeah, she had like a peaceful message though, and I can't say that I agree with everything that she said. Like I don't even know everything that she said, but from what I saw, you know, I was like, you know what, you know, this is one of the good ones.
Right. I mean, you're never going to agree with everything everybody or most people say. But as long as...
it's like an unachievable standard, you know? It's like...
Yeah, as long as the major key points, like, they aren't making exceptions for rapists or murderers or something, or they're not doing... or they are doing certain things that, you know, that really aren't morally on the good side of the spectrum or whatever, you know, obviously we can weed those people out. But for the most part, a lot of people, they have that, oh, this guy does, you know, this one little thing is, I can't agree with it, so I can't, you know, I don't want him to be the guy that represents me. And granted, I'm like that with a lot of politicians, but it's never just one thing. It's like a multitude of fucking things add up to that person is not who I would say I would want representing me. Or not saying that they're not capable of doing the job, but they don't represent what my ideals, my ideology. But at the same time, there's, you know, I gotta understand that there's millions of people and we all have our own ideas of what should be done and how it should be done, but we should all have some kind of idea of what's morally good and what's, you know, neutral and what's bad, you know what I'm saying? A lot of like the infrastructure bills, well, I don't want to pay extra taxes to get that done. we shouldn't have to pay extra taxes. Maybe we should cut our military budget down and slide that money on over to make up for the lack of infrastructure. Oh, we can't do that because then we'll not be the world power. Yeah, but should we really be the world power? Do we deserve it with all the fucking shit? Not that anybody really deserves that power. We should, honestly have like more of
the world is populated by other countries, T-Rex, you know, and
yeah, we should have.
So like we gotta fucking respect their shit too. You know, when we go around, yeah, we're the world's, superpower. We blow you up anywhere in the world, and it's like, yeah, maybe a step too far, maybe a couple steps too far there, and we should just worry about ourselves here and not the corporations, because like we worry about the corporations here, like, oh, how's Raytheon gonna fucking make ends meet? I do not give a fuck.
Well,
that's for them to fucking decide. That's their business.
I see the idea behind it from a financial perspective. Well, this company creates a lot of wealth for a lot of people, which creates, money flow in the economy. But they don't think about how if you're not compensating enough people well enough through that company, that just because whatever CEO, CFO, blah, 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 are making millions of dollars, and then their general workers are just making above poverty wages, who is that really helping? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't look into it that far.
The elite. It's designed to help out the elites, man, and give crumbs to everyone else, and, threaten no crumbs if any change upon the system or the systems. And that's kind of generally how it is in America with a lot of things.
Yeah, and that can open up into a huge hours and hours and hours long discussion. So
we should, write that down, for the next one, because it is past 2 hours, so I'm sure you're kind of, looking to get back to your family.
Yeah. I think the 2.5 hour mark is probably good for these episodes. So it's good to talk to you. I think we should just name this "Talking About Stuff" or "Talk About Stuff," because that's pretty much what we do. We'll start with something, we'll talk about it, it'll turn into something else, and it'll evolve, and then sometimes it'll come back to that original topic, or we'll remember what we were going to say about another thing in the middle there, you know what I'm saying? So we're just talking about stuff or whatever, And
interesting presidential rants or something, I don't know. I am talking with a normal citizen, and I am a normal citizen myself, but I'm looking to serve America in the way they need and deserve. Even despite, the existence of certain assholes, okay? So I'll still help America out, even if it helps certain assholes out, because you know what, I'm an upstanding guy like that.
Well, what is the saying? A rising tide raises all boats. So
yeah, I'm not going to be petty like that. Like, oh, I'm not going to help you out because there's these two assholes over here. Whatever, I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I'm not gonna dwell on any of that shit. Who cares? Maybe they'll turn around and be like, man, like that. I've had bullies that have turned into friends in school, at least. Like, I don't talk to them now, but and it's like someone coming at me all fighting and everything, and violent with me, and then later we're friends. I don't know, maybe that would be a situation that this voodoo thing can unfold into. I don't think so, but they have really crossed the line, or at least this one particular asshole, with the horse boy being the second minor asshole there. But if you wanted to take the heat off of horse boy, which is the only way I could identify him, and so I would like to have a name to stop calling him horse boy. But he's really taken the heat off of this dude, so I guess he's successful in a mission like that, like, because he's turning out to be like a major asshole, And this dude was like just private, like, you know, how it all started. It was all very minor, and now it's done escalated. But they did the escalation, like they did it to themselves. It was kind of all fascinating. And
From my experience, since I have actually been through that a few times, where I have been basically aggressed on and defended myself and then became friends with those people, it was a sort of immediate thing. It was like an in the situation right now thing. So if you guys could have worked it out on that first or second talk or whatever, then maybe it would be all good. But
yeah,
from it being drawn out this long, I don't feel like, I mean, obviously there's nothing that's set in stone, and maybe he'll come to a realization and say, hey, look, I was a fucking asshole and a dick, and I just didn't want to deal with it and admit to all this shit and say he's sorry about it, or at least, you know, apologize in some way.
That's pretty much the only reasonable move you have.
It could be, but I wouldn't fucking count on it, considering all the moves that have been made
well,
so
he got to
far.
double and triple down like a bully, you know, like, and that's how, like Trump fucking doubled and tripled down on all this shit, even making fun of that mentally handicapped reporter. Like, I can't believe, man, maybe I should have gone around making fun of mentally handicapped people. Then people, like, fucking cheer for me in a big room, you know?
Well,
damn.
They say if you can get yourself canceled, you'll get, like, a bunch of people behind you, because those people believe so much in whatever it is that you did, you know what I mean, that they'll back you. And, like, the whole, excuse me, I just took a big drink of water.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, I don't know, my microphone was being weird. The Trump thing, like, oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. Something Trump. Fuck. He was making fun of, that shit was sad as fuck, but there's enough people out there that are like, oh, that's funny, or, you know, they don't get that that's like, it's not, I said moral earlier, moral, but basically it's fucking ridiculous and repugnant and disgusting behavior to act like that, but that's what they were raised in, you know what I mean, to when someone,
those societal problems, you know.
Yeah, when someone has like a mental handicap or physical handicap, let's make fun of them because of it. It's like, what if you had to fucking deal with that shit, you know? So
yeah, I know, right?
If you can get yourself in a position to get yourself canceled for something like that, and when I say canceled, I mean, like, you know, get enough people aware of the bullshit that you're saying, or the bad shit that you're, you know, throwing out at people. If you can get enough people to be upset at you, there will be just as many people that will prop you up. So, and
maybe
in a lot of cases,
you know,
that's what people are doing. If I can get 50 people to fucking back me up, and he can only get 50 people, you know, to, you know, for his side, I'm fine, you know. And
I'm under my mentality is pretty much everyone is going to be against me, and that's fine. Sometimes, look, if America, like, you know, some terrorist did something in the future and I'm president and America wants to go to war over that, I'm going to have to temper those emotions down, you know, like, even like, look, this is not the right thing, you know, we will target those specifically involved with this, but we are not going to fucking invade no country. We're not going to fucking rape their fucking citizens, all right, you know, and pillage their fucking resources.
Go through legal channels. You know,
it's going to be fair and targeted. It ain't going to be this emotional, you know, out of control bullshit that makes the elites even richer. Yeah, enough.
Right, like if it's a little squad of people that are going around doing shit, and you can contact their government and be like, hey, what do you need to fucking get rid of this fucking shit? And then you work together, and then shit gets taken care of, instead of you know, you making fucking
No, I got the
enemies
big
of
dick. I got the big dick.
making enemies
know,
of an entire region of the world. Like when someone says the Middle East hates us, it's like, what do you mean the Middle East? That's like a fucking 10 countries, you know what I mean? Or 15 countries. That's a fucking entire region. That's like a third of a continent. And
they might hate us for legitimate reasons. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, like Iran, like we fucked up their shit in Iran. We, you know, kept their lives miserable for generations. Of
yeah,
course
my
it's
daughter's
understandable.
the length of my daughter's entire fucking life so far, basically. Yeah, it's like, fuck. And that's, people have grown up in that shit, and that's all they've ever known. So of course they're gonna fucking hate us for.
Yeah, then they
shit
grow
like
up being abused by America. They're not going to think too highly of America. I mean, is it really that hard? And apparently for some, putting yourself in other people's shoes is really difficult for certain personality types, and you know, typically like associated with the sociopath. But you know, it's very easy for me to, you know, put myself in all sorts of people's shoes and to go from there.
Well,
And yeah, I just want to fucking do more peace, you know, like legitimate peace instead of like, you know, that's what it's being sold as. So we had to bomb this country for peace. You know, it's like, what?
yeah.
What? That doesn't make sense. I'm so confused.
Yeah, we're gonna spend hundreds of millions or billions of dollars on building more bombs for freedom. Well, freedom for us? No, for the other countries that we're bombing. Yeah, wait, what? Yeah, that shit is so fucking weird to me.
Yeah, it's like laying on top of somebody, like somebody's an abuser or rapist or whatever the fuck, and they're like laying on top of the person they're victimizing, and they're like punching them over and over in the face, and they're like, look, I'm just trying to help you, you know. And they're saying that, and they're like punching this person, and it's like, man, I'm so confused. And this kind of discussion that we're having about the military, though, and peace and everything, it could be also applied to the homeless situation. How they spend extra money on just suffering. You just spend money on suffering instead of like less money and a fraction of it on just making the quality of life better all around. You know, I mean, it could be extended to not just the fucking outhouses, but how about you just like buy, you know, there's an empty house over there. Why don't we just buy it for that people, you know, that are homeless? Who cares if they're down and out? Like, I understand that, being down and out and being completely demoralized. And you look at these people at one instance in their life, and maybe it's lasted a while. They've been homeless 4 or 5 years or something like that. But this is like the worst time of their life. And if you give people a chance, most people are going to, you know, be successful and use this opportunity, like being given housing, you know, for some success in their lives. They're not all going to be a fuck up, you know, but it's easy to fuck up when you're in that situation and you're depressed. You can't think straight. It's the worst time of your life. You're just thinking about surviving to the next day. You're not even thinking like long term. I mean, you might have the fantasy occasionally, like, oh, well, you know, one day, hopefully this homelessness will all be over and I'll be like on a beach somewhere, you know, but yeah, you know, it's really bad. And societal change takes a lot of different changes to, you know, make that main societal change occur too. So, you know, just kind of, anyway.
It's a long road for anybody, because everybody has their own opinion of how to fix things and what they think how much government should be able to control or not, or how much their hand should be in something or not, or, you know what I mean? So it's that, firstly, that right there is practically impossible to get everybody on the same page, or even get half the people to kind of understand where you're coming from, which is why I think the government is so fragmented. You have, you know, we're told it's a right and left thing, but it's really not. It's a far right thing, a right thing, a centrist thing, a progressive thing, a liberal thing, and then a far left thing, and all those mentalities don't align enough for us to have one group of people representing us that have our all of our best interests in mind instead of just one half of the population or 20% or whatever it might be.
Well, I think I can make a dent in some of the conservatives too. You know, like all this trespassing bullshit. Like when I talk about the homelessness, it's like, wasn't there a prayer that went, as we forgive those that trespass against us? Wasn't that the fucking exact wording? And yet, I see a lot of these fucking so-called Christians, you know, like prosecute. Oh, he was sleeping in my business doorstep.
Yeah.
Well, don't you need to fucking say 10,000 Hail Marys right now for fucking doing that shit to that homeless person?
Why don't you build a canopy bed so next time he has somewhere more comfortable, motherfucker? Because that's what your ideology.
I was raised religious,
be,
so that's part of my moral character, like taking care of the poor, you know, and you know, loving your neighbor, like that story that I talked about earlier with my neighbor taking my package. You know, other people, like even her son was like thinking that it was something more nefarious, when I was like, well, here, let me offer a different perspective as to what I suspect, you know, happened, you know, and he was like, you know what, I didn't think of it like that, you know, and he kind of like, you know, started to calm down, but he's being driven insane by her, so like the dude is jobless and like always around his crazy mother that's like arguing with herself, which I feel really bad for, by the way. I wish she would be on her medication to kind of get her to stop arguing and yelling with herself. But whatever. I understand mental illness. I understand trauma. I've been through these things myself.
Yeah, and to go back just a minute, the guy you're talking about, a lot of people are in that situation where they don't have time to think because they got so much shit going on that it's just it's not a part of their day, you know what I mean? They don't have time to reflect on what's really going on, or they have the government, they have they're thinking about where's my next paycheck coming from. They're thinking about you know, the taxes they got to pay. They're thinking about when and where they got to be at appointments and their work schedule and their whole life and all that shit. And then a lot of them are raised on religion, so they have, you know, they don't have that critical thinking skill of, you know, really getting to understand why a certain thing is happening. So, you know, everybody's got probably multiple different reasons to be in that situation, but we all need to kind of take time to really evaluate our situations and to understand where other people are at, and not really judge. I mean, yes, you got to judge people to a certain extent, but not judge people as if you know exactly what's going on, because a lot of people have so much more shit going on in their life, whether or not they're jobless or homeless or whatever. There may be so much more layers of shit that you don't understand about what's going on in their head or in their, you know, their actual day-to-day life or whatever, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like, you know, case in point, you know, like this guy didn't really think critically, you know, about what he was going to do to me, you know, and what situation that might put him in. And so he's like, I just want to end this guy's fucking protest, and fucking your father's fucking restraining order full of nothing but lies. Well, he didn't think too far ahead, you know, and that is a societal issue. Critical thinking is not really taught.
Or
stupidity
or emphasized
is like revered.
Yeah,
as some like, you know, like, yeah, being stupid and everything. It's like, hell yeah, you were stupid. I mean, look at Trump and all the stupid shit he was doing, and people are like, yeah, hell yeah, that makes him genuine. It's like, why does that make him genuine? Oh my God, our societal problems are way deeper than I had, you know, anticipated before.
Oh yeah, that fucking ripped open a whole new bag of shit for people to sniff on, you know, like You thought it was bad before. Now look at us, and then other countries are looking at us like, look at these dipshits, and they're the world police. What the fuck, you know? So that shit baffles me.
Yeah, I know how we like to tell ourselves that we're like so awesome, and you know, hey, my neighbor agrees with me. He has an American flag on his fucking truck too, and it's like, yeah, but like the rest of the world doesn't really see it that way. You know, and it's your inability to put yourselves in these other citizens' shoes. You know, like I feel so embarrassed. I've been so embarrassed for like such a long time. I can't even think of a time when I wasn't embarrassed. I just get more and more embarrassed is all. You know, especially with fucking Trump, and now we got fucking like mentally handicapped fucking Biden. You know, like. It's like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Like these are our leaders. Oh my God.
And then the recent news coverage of Hillary being all over the place and talks of Trump maybe running again and shit like that. It's like, what kind of a fiasco is this shit? Why
she gave us Trump.
Right, why are we gonna go through the same shit again? And then what happens if she loses again? Are we gonna get the same fucking more years
about
of the same shit? Well, nobody said specifically that she's going to, but I don't know if you've noticed in the last month or two, she's been doing a lot of interviews. She did one that like blew up and went viral because she was like she was crying during reading the speech she would have read if she had not lost. And it triggered a lot of people.
Dude, that bitch is such a loser. Like,
yeah.
Like, I haven't even paid attention to her. I've seen the little stuff in Twitter, like on the side and everything that advertises for certain, you know, tweets or whatever, or trending tweets. But I try to ignore it. I'm like, ignore. And I've been kind of unplugged since like the beginning of October. I've been, like I said, I was just trying to hang out and you know, at this sex club that might have taken me a really long time. I may have moved out of the state or moved out of the town by the time it would take me to trust someone to play with them at the sex club. So, you know, it's just like, well, anyway, the Hillary shit, man, she's such a loser, and I know I might lose an election, but she was so horrible that I don't know how anybody really takes her seriously. But it's this fake. Like, it's the propaganda, you know, the media propping her up and Twitter and everything and YouTube. And, here, Hillary has something to say. Everybody listen. You know, it's like, why are we listening to this bitch? She fucking gave us Trump. Well, she's like one of the worst persons in the world. She has so much money. Go fuck off. Yeah, fuck off. Leave us alone.
Yeah. Take your billions of dollars and get the fuck out of here. I think a lot of it, though. Yeah. I think a lot of it is... Okay, I understand why women wanted a female president. That's great. There were alternate choices throughout the last, you know, couple decades, you know, that were plenty qualified. I was looking for the qualified word, but I'm having stoner brain.
Well, more qualified probably than Hillary.
Well, yeah, I'm saying plenty qualified to be president, regardless of more than her or not. The fact that she is who she is the reason why she didn't get voted in. She placates to everybody. She is not genuine. We all know her past. We know what she did when the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky shit happened originally, and then when some others came out later on saying that they had been, you know, sexually assaulted or whatever by Bill later on or before, and she went after them. You know, first she puts out a tweet, we should believe all women, and then she goes after the women that say that her husband assaulted them. And
yeah,
we know he had and we already knew he had some kind of, we already knew that he was into that behavior, so it's not unlikely that it did happen, you know what I'm saying? But then she defended him, so it makes you wonder who the fuck she really is, because she's so two-faced. So who the fuck really is she? We don't want this person. And then when people
The
see
two
Trump,
faces.
they're like, oh, he's genuine. Well, he's an asshole. Yeah, he's always an asshole. Yeah, but he's a liar. Yeah, but he's always a liar. Yeah, but he's belligerent and boisterous and loud and in your face. Yeah, but he's always that way. Well, you got a fucking point. You see what I'm saying? Well, he may be all those things, but he's always been all of those fucking things. Find me videotape of him not bragging about his accomplishments that he fucking didn't do himself, you know?
The manipulation of Trump, like, he sold himself as this successful person, and that's one thing that Cenk Uygur got right at TYT, you know, is that he is not a successful person, and Cenk pointed out, you know, his failing upward, whether you agreed with his 100 days of Trump shit for the election or whatever or not. He did make good points, and he went bankrupt multiple times, and then you could use that. Like, why is it okay for a rich person to declare bankruptcy on millions of dollars when students can't declare bankruptcy on their student loans? Why is this system okay like that? You know, and
I think that
there was things
that goes down way deeper than most people can think about, and that's, we all feel like we deserve to be rich one day, and we don't want that to, we want to have the power to fucking control our wealth and shit like that, but most people are never going to be that, but they have the mentality that that's who they'll be, and they don't want that person, regardless of how piece of shit they might be, to be reprimanded for those actions when they someday might choose to do that. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's really deep down what it is. Though. What's that?
Like being taxed at a higher rate, like if you're rich and everything, you're simply, and it needs to be sold like this, you are giving back to a society that has allowed you to have so much. And plain and simple, it's not robbery. It's not fucking like violence or whatever the fuck. It's just you're giving back to a society that's given you. And this is a violation of such a violation of social contract these past few decades, you know, that's been going on. And that this could be applied to other areas, you know, as well. But, you know, like these corporations that hoard their fucking profits and don't share any with employees. It's like, dude, those employees, you wouldn't have any profits if it weren't for any of the people on the bottom. You need to have the people on the bottom, and you know they're like, well, you know, they're on the bottom, so you know maybe in 4 years they could work their way up the ladder, you know, and it's like, man, you know, it's really insulting, and it's really greedy and selfish, and coming from a Christian, you know, nation, or a nation that is mostly Christian, is really fucking perplexing to me. I really don't understand it. Well, I mean, I understand it, but I just don't understand, you know, how people can't think their way out of it. You know.
Yeah, well, I had a big long spiel of stuff to say, but I'm just paying attention to what you're saying and not focusing on what I was going to say, and then I had a brain fart. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here because we're coming up on the 3-hour mark. So
yeah. Yeah, if you don't shut me up, I'll go forever, all right? For real,
it's no big deal. I don't have anywhere to be or anything really to do other than to get back to maybe editing this right off or get back to some other shit I'd already been working on. But I do appreciate talking to you about all this stuff, and I'm sure we're going to get into more and more and more stuff to talk about, and so we'll talk about stuff.
Yeah, I think I want to come up with a better name though, so like maybe like amazing presidential chats or interesting presidential chats. I don't know, something. I'll ponder it for a little bit. I'll text you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing's solid. I just figured, you know, I know we're trying to focus on your projection to trajectory toward becoming president. So I know that's kind of the main focus, but also we talk about, you know, life in general, what gives you the reasons for your, you know, why you think the things you do, and how you plan to resolve whatnot, and all that. So I
Well,
figured just
it,
just a plain old name, we can always blast it out, and people will eventually understand who you are, and people will share, you know.
and why I do things the way I do. Like, I'm
Right,
even
right.
kind of learning this. Like, I learned like that 16 personalities from the Myers-Briggs thing, and I'm even fascinated by it because like it explains why I do things the way I do, and why I enjoy my alone time, but I don't like being lonely. And I would say that I am alone though a lot. Like I've been taking care of people all the time. I take care of that neighbor that I occasionally have sex with, and her bitchy ass sister. And but nobody's ever taken care of me though. Is like the thing. Like sometimes I got to be the one that needs to be held, and fucking like I deserve to be the little spoon. I think not ask for too much.
Right, we all
But
deserve that here
I
and
can't
there.
even get these things. Like it's been like I just saw like some post on the FetLife, and they're like, it's some like 24 or 25-year-old chick, and she's like, I've been single for 3 years, and man, it's been so lonely. And it's like 3 years, man. Fucking multiply that shit by 6 or 6.5 or some shit like that, and then you fucking come across where I've been. All right, and like I've had a whole lifetime alone. It seems, that I missed out on a lot.
Well,
And
you keep putting yourself out there, eventually you're going to find someone that matches up better with you. I think the lifestyle you live right now is not ideal for a lot of women in general, but that's not to say that there aren't plenty of women that are fine with not being materialistic or worrying about like living in excess is basically what I was getting at. Most women
one thing I
want
wanna
someone to
say-
take care of them in excess, and so that security factor is a big issue with most women. So, but there's women out there that just don't give a fuck. They just as long as you're both happy and you're both fed, they don't give a shit. So you just gotta find someone like that that's more on your level.
I would like to have someone that I could share with America. I know that, but that's like that would be a good thing, because you see how Bill and Hillary reacted to his not being open about shit. Him getting a little pussy or head on the side or where the fuck it was, and then not being open about that, and then fucking attacking the people that gave you pleasure, attacking people like anyway, and like that shit won't happen with me. Like I may be a little freaky or whatever, but that's my business, and whoever else wants to do that with me, but I'm not gonna.
America's definitely not ready for that, because think about all the times that something comes out and it's a scandal. It's like
No. See, Trump did the Teflon Don thing, and he's like, yeah, well, I bragged about going in teenage, pageant room, he bragged about going in the dressing room with these little girls.
Well,
He
yeah,
fucking,
that's
so I just,
that's
it's not
fucked up.
like it's me,
I'm saying like
and just it's a self-defense sort of.
I'm saying like the prudishness of let the man fuck his wife, he's the goddamn president type of shit, instead of like people like, oh, we can't have a general conversation, a healthy conversation about what a healthy sex life is and all that shit, and that not everybody fits into one little fucking mold. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, that's why I have these conversations with
Right, exactly.
and maybe others in the future. This is freedom, and I need to change people's perspective, because they haven't been given one, a different perspective. So this is all they know, and they may not agree with it right away. But as long as I plant that seed, and put it out there, maybe give them some time, they will come to a different conclusion on their own.
right, and
Instead of
everything is evolving now, and like people who grow up in a much more conservative environment are pretty much dying off, and that's sad, but old people die. But that general mentality has been passed along to a younger generation, but less and less over time. So eventually we'll get there. It's just, will we get there fast enough where the entire planet isn't fucking boiling, and are we really, can we even plant food in the ground anymore, or are there even animals left type of shit? Are we really gonna survive? I know that could be 1,000 years from now, but
the Earth will still take on, and it probably will survive.
I'm saying the species of humans, yeah, like if we don't get our shit to fucking together and get on a more level, see more eye to eye between each other, we're just gonna kill each other off without the nukes. We don't need nukes to fucking kill each other off if the planet fucking, shakes us off like.
I mean, if we ruin the spaceship that we're on, and we're sort of on spaceship Earth, if we ruin it, then that's our own doing. And then a bunch of other things get to suffer along with it, with maybe the water life being the most survivable. Yeah, there's all sorts of innocent animals and plants out there that didn't have a say in any of this bullshit that's, happening. But I would like to try to reverse, as best as we can. I think pushing thorium salt, or the molten thorium salt, or the molten salt thorium reactors is a good idea, is a good way to go. And then that we're burning less fossil fuels and plug as much shit as we can into the grid, like electric, wirelessly charging lanes, that could, power vehicles. I don't know how plausible this idea is. And I need to talk to some engineers and some people that know their shit. So, but I think, as someone wanting to, I'm sorry I keep cutting off. No, but as someone that's wanting to run for president, I should be able to talk about anything. Now, if I don't understand, you're like, well, what's the capital, of so-and-so? I'm be like, oh, fuck, what is the capital of Michigan? Oh, fuck, man,
Right, but as long as you can keep up conceptually with what's going on, that's really all that matters. You may not know the capital of Kazakhstan or something, but...
Real quick, what's the 15th Amendment?
Yeah, I fucking have no idea. I know there is one, but yeah... So, but you can look it up. That's the thing. You can give me 5 minutes and I'll fucking tell you my opinion on that. So, that's kind of a good thing. So. But yeah, it's just going to be a long road to kind of get people on your side, because the way that it's been for so long that, oh, well, that's just the way it is, so that's the way it should be. And it's like, no, we need to break out of this mold of the perfect family set. Why can't we have a gay couple as a president and not vice president, but first lady or first man or whatever the fuck they want to call it now?
Yeah, as long as it's just doing the people's will. What does it matter?
Why do we have to have one or the other female or male president? Why can't we have a female president and a woman as vice president too? You know what I'm saying? Why does it have to be 1 and 1 or like a team or whatever? To me, it doesn't matter, as long as the people who are in charge have the right ideas and want to implement the right policies and want to fix the infrastructure and actually help people in reality instead of perpetuate the bullshit that's going on. To me, it doesn't really fucking matter. But to a lot of people out there, they have to be aligned with you first. They have to have same skin color. They have to be from the same region. They have to have grown up with the same. Yeah, it's just like, that shit to me is fucking ridiculous. I hate that type of political alignment. I can't stand tradition. A lot of it's just nonsense. If it's not helping and we keep doing it, why the fuck are we doing it? Isn't that the definition of insanity? So... Yeah.
I mean, it does sound insane. I don't know if that's the actual definition.
It's like a generalization of it. If you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, that's kind of insanity. I mean, I know that's not technically, but, along those lines. Well, people out here are selfish, but they have to be selfish to survive. Well, they're selfish and they're trying to survive because of the environment they're put in. So how else do we expect them to be? Yeah, it's really tough to actually step up and do the right thing. It's a lot tougher than just fucking eking by and putting on your blinders and not paying attention to the world around you, because it's so fucking much easier. So
yeah, I know. I mean, well, it's definitely an uphill battle, but I think like maybe I'll be electable in 10 years. So as society changes along these 10 years into the 2030s, then, you know, and maybe we could have a nice meeting where shit aligns kind of perfectly, and I am able to realize this extremely hard to accomplish goal. I understand the numbers are against me, but look, you know, I guess it doesn't involve money, because everybody, like from my family to like law enforcement, even, you know, it's just like everybody, yeah, and the sex club, even like I mentioned the whole president thing, and they seem to not take that seriously at all. You know, they're just like labeling me, oh, well, this guy wants to run for president, so clearly he wants to pick up a gun and shoot people. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm doing the exact opposite of that. I am like that gun nut. How about that? But instead of the Second Amendment, I'm like a First Amendment person.
Right. See, but
just like that Second Amendment dude doesn't care about the First Amendment, I don't care about no damn gun. I fucking, you know, like I said earlier, I'm like gun free. I never touched, held. I had problems, you know, joining the military because I would have to use such a weapon. And so I do things a little bit differently. And, you know, and sad for them, they didn't realize I was like this, you know, and I can never escape that, T-Rex, is like whether I'm a handyman or I'm a delivery driver, you know, like pizza delivery driver or whatever, or I'm running for president, no matter what, you know, I get that fucking shitty assumption upon me that, oh, this guy, you know, is some terrorist. You know, it's like, oh my fucking God.
Well, people presume,
I can never escape it.
People presume shit because you don't already have a backing, you don't have a following, you don't already have people cheerleading for you. And that's kind of why I don't have a problem doing this, is because I want to be that cheerleader for you, because you need that. Whether or not you become president, I feel like you need to keep that hope alive and keep pushing toward it, because as long as you're doing that, you're at least changing lives, especially when you're talking about the stories that you've gone through and why you would like to change the things, and other people can obviously relate to it, because I immediately related to a lot of your stories, especially your family. But a lot of people that I know have grown up in a similar thing, and I tell them stuff and they're like, wow, that's crazy, that's almost like a parallel thing, I feel like you're my brother or something. It's like, so that's the type of people, they're all out there. Everybody's had strife and had to, you know, pull themselves up in some certain manner or not. And then there's such a wide array of people out there, just a spectrum, and we all, what's that, a Venn diagram? We all have that overlap somewhere. We all have our shitty days. We all have our things that hold us back. We have our doubts and our confidence, and some of us are arrogant, and you know, we all have a little bit of all that. And everybody, somewhere deep down, if you tell the right stories enough, people will latch onto it, and you know, you'll get that following. So maybe people right now don't really know who you are, and maybe there's only 50 people that really interact with you on any amount of, you know, any kind of basis. But those people you interact with may not directly say, hey, this is where I got the information, but they'll repeat it, and if they've talked to 2 people each, now you've multiplied, you've doubled the amount of people that, or tripled technically with real math, you would have tripled the amount of people who understand where you're coming from. You may not have a direct link to them.
To be heard, but also to be taken somewhat seriously. I know not everyone has the time to, listen to everything that I talk about, but it's just those first few initial supporters, that I'm trying to kind of gather. It's not like I'm like seeking some like huge following for my ego or whatever. I really would feel uncomfortable in a large room, but I would do it, or like a large crowded room, but I would do it, just for the greater good. But I would prefer to like be kind of not bothered and, kind of like left alone, but have my little small circle of close people, and I really do appreciate, like, you talk to me, like, I would be so hopeless right now, like the hope that you just give me just by talking to me and giving me a little bit of your time. I appreciate it every second. I kind of have the thought, probably a bad thought, definitely a bad thought, but I'm like, why does this guy still talk to me? Like, nobody's taking me seriously. I'm getting shit on by these fucking people at this fucking sex club. It's like, no matter what I do, it's like, why do I even do this? So I do have my, less greater moments, I guess, you would say. But,
right. We all have our ups and downs, but like I said, I believe in a lot of things that you say, and I want to back whoever has these ideas. If there was someone else out there saying the same things, I would, I'd be messaging them and, interacting with them on Twitter and whatnot and doing the same thing, but there's just nobody out there really doing it. I mean, honestly, there are, but not to a relatable factor. Most of them are, from what I can tell, are more journalistic. They're just trying to repeat what's, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. They're not really down for, well, let's do this about it. And that's when I heard you talking to TJ saying, well, I want to literally do something about it. That's who I want to back. The people who want to actually make it may not change my life specifically for the better, but it'll change the most people's life for the better. So if we can help out 40,000 homeless people a year, that'll make 40,000. I'm just saying, even if it was just that, that's still an immense amount of people that are getting help, regardless of whether it helps me, and I feel good about that. But that's not what's fucking happening.
Yeah, they don't even try though. Like I'm so disappointed with AOC and the squad and all that shit. It's like they don't even try, but they give the illusion of trying. After Congress, like months ago or a year ago, like Congress went off to vacation or something. Then AOC and Cori Bush was out there dancing or whatever the fuck. They're fake, they're fake bullshit. Is the thing. If they were ignoring people, like, look, I would stop my dancing to really hear people out, but because I am doing the whole dancing thing too, I guess. But I think I'm going to be doing it much better than
we'll see.
Than these fake fucking politicians.
Your situation is dancing to get people's attention, and then when they're like, why are you dancing? You go, oh, this is it. When they were dancing, it was to go, look over here, look over there, look over here. You don't pay attention to what's really going on. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's you using a different tactic. What's that? You cut out.
Well, they were being asked a question, like a legitimate, like, grievance question, I think.
I saw that.
And then they're like, all right, everybody, let's turn the music up and start dancing. And it's like, what?
Yeah, how to alienate the people who might have your back and might want to support you, but instead you just treat them like shit. And guess what? They got friends and buddies who have the same mentality and are going to go, well, fuck her or fuck them. We'll just either vote for another party or a different set of politicians or not vote, or even switch sides in some cases. And that's fucked up, but they do that. They drive people to do that. Think about all the people who voted for Trump, like, I'm voting for Biden this next round. Fuck Trump. And then imagine all the people that voted for Obama that are like, well, fuck, I'm gonna vote for Trump because nothing fucking happened. All we did was drone strike people for 8 years. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like,
and increased the amount of countries were invading under Obama. You
yeah,
know, it was like,
so
it was like Bush 2.0. It was like, what?
right. So people flip flop because they feel like, well, these people aren't doing it. Let's go back to these, and they don't realize it's two sides of the same fucking coin. It's the same machine. You're just producing. Oh, one's Twix 1 and one's Twix 2. They're the same. They go into the same fucking pack. They come out of the same package. You know what I mean? As an analogy,
it
anyway.
is really two sides of the same coin. Like, I mean, it's sold a little bit differently. They have slightly different tactics, but you just saw the Democrats bullshit. You know, right away, right to begin with. They're like the parliamentary. You know, that thing that nobody's ever heard of before. Well, you know, we can't do all this awesome stuff because parliamentary. You know, and yeah, I just, you know, I could go on and on about the failures, but they really are. It's like one big club. They're all on the same team. It's sold as separate teams, but it's really, they're just for the elite.
Yeah,
and if you're not an elite, you should probably be on our side.
Yeah, it's like the team owners of like the NFL. Well, I don't like the NFC, so I don't like the NFC owners. Yeah, but you still watch the NFL. You know what I mean? You're still part of that whole game. They're all part of that game, and they don't give a fuck about which team they own or are partial owners of, because it's all for profit for them. So using that analogy, it's like you're still supporting the NFL, so you're still supporting them, you know. So to me, that's why I decided to not vote until there's someone worth voting for. I'll vote local if if someone's saying and willing to do, and they have a track record and whatnot. I'm willing to vote for them, but I'm not willing to vote for people who've been bullshitting me for decades and damn near fucking half a century or longer than I've been alive. They've been doing this shit, and it's like, we can see what you're up to. We can just look it up. There's YouTube videos. There's historical fucking videos of this shit documented, and we can just look it right up. How does Joe Biden feel about this? Oh, 20 years ago he said this. Now he's saying this. Well, obviously people can change for the better, but did he change because he needed to for his constituents, or did he do it out of the genuine heartedness, or did he fucking do it because he was forced to and he had no other fucking choice, you know? So you can really tell by like certain politicians flipping at the last second. Well, I guess I'm for gay marriage, and you know, a couple years after it's already legal in a few states. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait, what about 5 years ago when you were protesting it and saying things like a man and a woman is the only way it can be? You know what I'm saying? Like, so now you, not only are you alienating the people that you used to agree with, now we can't trust you because you didn't go, hey, I came to the realization long before and actually, you know, change your mind. You waited till the last second when you didn't have a choice, and now you want to say, oh, well, you know, I'll do it now. Well, it's too fucking late. Sorry, buddy. You know, you done fucked up.
Well, that does work, though. I mean, that fucking, like, political posturing, you know, where they just do it for the fucking votes or whatever. You know, I could imagine the Democrats are, like, I've been unplugged for a couple months, but I can imagine that they're going around like, oh, the Republicans are, you know, meanies, you know, nothing would ever get done, unlike us that haven't done anything for you, really, you know, but vote for us. You know, it's like, what kind of arguments are you trying to make? You like, people could see this stuff. I know they can't pay attention and know all the details, but they get, you know, whiffs of it every now and then, and I think that's their undoing. That's going to be their undoing. But they don't care about winning or losing an election because they make a career out of this. They make a living off of it. So they make a living off of losing. You know, like, you know, so, you know, I'm tired of it, and there's a lot of Americans that are tired of it. And I'll correct myself, like, I change my mind on things, you know, but I'll do it when, you know, oh man, I've come to a different conclusion, and I'll talk about it in some random episode or something like that.
Right, coming out.
But I try to be as genuine as possible. I'm sorry.
Coming out ahead of the thing, like saying, well, this is the way I feel about it politically. I know that the group that I'm in doesn't see it this way, but this is the way I see it, but I also agree with them for the most part, so I'm going to stick with it. Yeah, that's one thing. But totally being against it, and then, 51% of the people on your side finally flip that way, and then you're like, oh, well, I guess I better before, that type of...
Yeah, the numbers look good. The numbers look good. So, I'm definitely going to be, for gay marriage instead of when the numbers were on my side, then it was easier for me to fucking...
Yeah,
and that's like the thing being against this sex club, too, is like the numbers are not on my side at all, at least with the local community. I hope maybe in the broader sense, like, people do care, like, oh, fuck, this club did this to so-and-so, and they're a few states away, and they catch wind of it. All right, that's cool, but yeah, the numbers aren't on my side, but I'm just doing what feels right. My intuition tells me all this shit is right. And whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. It feels right, though, is what I will say.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do what you feel is right for you, regardless of everyone else's situation. I mean, obviously, you can't go around fucking people over, but you're not doing that. And so as long as you're, doing within the law, as long as the actions you're doing are, not hurting anybody or whatever, I don't see a fucking problem.
I don't know. Maybe I crossed, my feet were in the street, or actually my seat was in the street, so I was kind of blocking the street a little bit. So, that might have been against the law, right?
So, that's all you can do is make sure that you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, and just, cover all your steps and make sure that you're not breaking any laws, and there you go, so just...
I'm doing my best. I don't have no, lawyerly help or anything, so I'm just kind of operating under a common person's understanding, of laws and everything, so that's kind of just getting me by right now.
Well,
he said that he was going to definitely sue me for defamation of his sex club or whatever, but I'm sure the lawyers are pouring over it, trying to really hard to find anything to make a case, and they just can't, because these things are true. I'm using their words against them. I released the transcript too of the whole chat that we had, so I have the major blog at the bottom of my voodoostory.com, and that's titled Voodoo Leatherworks Abuse of Me, and then right above it is the transcripts of what got said exactly. And if you're going to say that I'm a violent fucking person, then why wasn't any of that shit mentioned in the transcripts beforehand? I mean, you got so many holes in your shit because your shit is full of shit, and I'm going to prove it. And I'm definitely going to get the court to look into the stocking matter too. When I was saying you, I was talking about him, but so he claims that I'm a stalker, and I'm going to definitely jump on that one right there, and I'm going to demand discovery, because he tried logging into one of my accounts, my MediaFire account, where I have my MP3s of the audio of my protest, and I have it in the details of the Voodoo Leatherworks protest video that I have on YouTube. So
that's some devious
and it was just the first
there.
video.
Yeah, they were trying to hack into that shit and delete it or something.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're fucking stalking the shit out of me. So guess what, bitch? This shit, you put yourself, or he put himself in this situation. All right. So I'm just reacting. And when you try to throw me in fucking jail and you don't undo your mistake on that mediation, it was when he had a chance to undo his mistake, but he didn't. And so now, hardcore mode activated, bitch. I feel like Jesse Pinkman. I say that shit so much, bitch.
All right. Well, I gotta go empty the bladder, and
yes.
So, it's been good to talk to you.
Function.
And I know this is like the third outro we've done, but maybe I'll cut them other ones or something. I don't know. Anyways, we'll get in touch. We'll speak again, and we'll talk about more stuff, and hopefully we'll come up with a better idea for a title for this shit.
Yeah, I'll ponder it. My subconscious is already hard at work at it, and it'll throw me something, and I'll send you a text or a Twitter message or something.
Cool. Well, you stay up, sucker. You have a good one.
Thanks for your time. You take care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, well, that was a good talk. That was about an hour longer than I was expecting, but that's fine. No biggie. So, anyways, I'm gonna put the link to his I can't remember what he said it was called. I don't want to say the wrong one. The Leatherworks story blog. I'm gonna put that link in the description, and you'll be able to check more of that out in depth and not have to listen to us yammer on about it. You can get right down to the specifics and possibly listen to the audio or whatever if he's got that available. I haven't even checked that out, so I'm gonna check that out too. So thanks for listening. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and so you could see more and hear more. And see you guys later. Bye bye.